Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
Hope everybody's doing well today. Shabbat.
Praise the Lord.
Shalom. And we're about to get started today. Hope everybody's doing well. And this week flew by like crazy, man. Really fast.
Sabbath to Sabbath, right?
Sabbath to Sabbath. Easy. So Shalom, Derek. How you doing, brother? So we're gonna do today. We're gonna get things started really soon. And continue in our reading of Joshua and our desired, I guess, goal to get through as much of the Bible as possible, so Israel can sit back here and have a chance to get all the scriptures written down and learn as much about the Bible as possible. That's our goal. That's what we're doing with the Sabbath classes. Let's start our prayers up, Dawi. Are you ready to rock, man?
Ready to rock.
Yeah.
Rock!
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Imagine Wapanya, Yirah Shalom. It's just us.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's just us. No?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
You gotta be sorry, bro.
Okay. Baruch Thei How by Shem Yahshai.
Baruch Thei How by Shem Yahshai.
Ha'awa'ah.
Ha'awa'ah.
Nithalanel. Awar. Zayawam. Tuwada. Aman.
Aman. Blessed you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us this day. Thanks. So be it.
Okay. Baruch Thei How by Shem Yahshai.
Baruch Thei How by Shem Yahshai.
Ha'awa'ah.
Ha'awa'ah.
Nithalanel.
Now.
Rayach.
Rayah.
Nayachacha.
Yachacham.
Tuwada.
Tuwada.
Aman.
Aman. Blessed you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us sweet savor. Thank you. So be it.
Okay. We're not lined up right off.
Sure.
We are not lined up
I think
right.
this is from like
This is gonna go
Colonel
on.
Cops Club.
No. I tweaked it a little bit, but we're not lined up. We're not lined up. Excuse me, y'all. Just gotta make a tweak. I hate when things look weird online. We kind of looked weird online on Wednesday too.
Oh, we did?
The camera was tilted.
Oh, you serious, huh?
As a heart attack. All that good information,
That's not cool.
and everybody's head is all tilted online.
Sideways on this.
No bueno. Yeah,
This is
we were
classic.
sitting sideways like Paul Waller. All right, there we go. I think we're better now. Okay. Imagine Wapanya Yirah Shalom, rise and face Jerusalem. Baruch Thei How by Shem Yahshai.
Baruch Thei How by Shem Yahshai.
Ha'awa'ah.
Ha'awa'ah.
Nithalanel. Ha'shabbat.
Ha'shabbat.
Ba'shalom.
Ba'shalom.
Tuwada.
Tuwada.
Aman.
Aman. Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the Shabbat, the Sabbath, in peace. Thank you, so be it.
Okay. Psalms 121. Ainashya.
Ainashya.
Ayanyamya.
Ayanyamya.
Pahoyam.
Pahoyam.
Ma'aya.
Ma'aya.
Yabuwa'ah.
Yabuwa'ah.
Aizorya.
Aizorya.
Aizorya. Yabuwa'ah.
Yabuwa'ah.
Ma. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Sha'aisha.
Sha'aisha.
Shemayim.
Shemayim.
Wa'aratiza.
Wa'aratiza.
La'a.
La'a.
Yonathan.
Yonathan.
Lamawat.
Lamawat.
Regalia.
Regalia.
Yala'a.
Yala'a.
Nawam.
Nawam.
Shashamorya.
Shashamorya.
Hana.
Hana.
Yala'a.
Yala'a.
Nawam.
Nawam.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yashan.
Yashan.
Shashawamar.
Shashamor.
Yasharab.
Yasharab.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shemarya.
Shemarya.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalia.
Tazalia.
Ayo.
Ayo.
Yanyamya.
Yanyamya.
Yad.
Yad.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
Yala'a.
Yala'a.
Hakaya.
Hakaya.
Bayawam.
Bayawam.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Halabana.
Halabana.
Balayala.
Balayala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamarya.
Yashamarya.
Makol.
Makol.
Rai.
Rai.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Napasha.
Napasha.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Hawalakya.
Hawalakya.
Wabuwa'aya.
Wabuwa'aya.
Ma'aitha.
Ma'aitha.
Wa'ai. Awalam.
Awalam. I will lift up my eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper, the Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Israelite Credo. Shema Yashala. Yahweh. Eloheinu. Yahweh. Echad. Shema Yashala. Yahweh. Eloheinu. Yahweh. I'm sorry. Yahweh. Echad. Shema Yashala. Yahweh. Eloheinu. Yahweh. Echad.
Hear Israel, Yahweh, our power, Yahweh, is one.
Okay. Lord's Prayer. Abanawa. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malak Wadka. Thaba'ah. Ratazaka. Hayah. Aisha. Barataza. Chawat. Hayah. Bashemayim. Netalanawa. Lacham. Ko. Yawam. Wasalachanawa. Chawatino. Kasalachanawa. Chawatino. Wala'ah. Thabianawa. Bonasawan. Abo. Hawashino. Mayan. Right. Hayah. Laka. Hamalakwat. Waha'ala. Wathaparat. La'ai walamyam. Amen.
Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. 10 Commandments. La'ah. Yahaya. Laka. Alahayim. Achayim. Ayo. Panya. La'ah. I'm sorry. That was number 1.
Thou shalt have no other powers before me.
Number 2. La'ah. Ta'ayna. Laka. Fasal. Wala'ah. Ta'ibadam.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'ah. Thalach Chokha. Sham. Yahweh. Bashawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Number 4. Zakar. Hayawam. Hashabah. La Kodashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5. Kabad Abaka. Ya'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Number 6. La'ah Tharatazah.
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
Number 7. La'ah Thana'ah.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Number 8. La'ah Thagara.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'ah Ta'ayna. Shakwar.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10. La'ah Thachamat. Ko. Asherah. La Ra'aika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor's.
Barakatah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Ahawa'ah. Natalanawa. Hathawara.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. That gives us the law.
Everybody, you shove you. Take a seat, take a seat, take a seat.
Seats tight.
All right. All right. Let's put this up. When we left off last week, dealing with Joshua and Israel laying siege to multiple cities of the Canaanites. Okay, the last place that we took out land-wise was Ai, and initially with Ai, we had failed to them because of Achan and that Babylonian gold garment that Achan wanted to snatch up. After they killed him and his family and his children and all his possessions and burnt it, then we set out, took over Ai again, and once Ai was taken, the next adjourning nation or kingdom was Gibeon.
Yeah.
And the Gibeonites like snuck and faked and lied to Joshua and Eleazar the priest and said, hey, we're from a far, far away land.
Old garments, old bread,
Mm-hmm.
old shoes, everything was worn, extremely worn, to push the idea, hey, we're from a very...
And we want to serve you. And let's make an ambassador with you and make things right with you now.
And the princes end up accepting them before they council, right?
And they made a vow. Well, Joshua let them in,
Okay.
and the princes made a vow to keep them connected with them, and to allow them to be servants. So then later on, the Jews realized that the Gibeonites were like neighbors right down the street, and they were like, "What the cuss is this?" Because from Ai, I don't have they don't have like, they can't determine distance, but it was the next closest kingdom was Ai. I mean, it was Gibeon from Ai.
Yeah.
So they tricked them, and then when Joshua like confronted them about it, they said, "Hey man, how else are we gonna survive, man?" Pretty much, how else are we gonna survive? We knew y'all was gonna kill us. We didn't want to die, so we took the red pill. We took servitude. So Joshua said, "You know what, man? Then y'all gonna be servants perpetually. Y'all gonna be servants and then serve us around the kingdom however we need you." So that was the decree. So now you had neighboring kingdoms who were vexed and who were pissed that Gibeon sold out. It's because now Gibeon, or the Jews, had another kingdom in Canaan, and they had another foothold in the adjourning lands. And now we're at chapter 10, and there's going to be a meeting of the 5 kings that has jurisdiction of the south of the land of Canaan. I'm trying to make sure I paint the picture properly. Ai was more of central Canaan. Gibeon was descending south. So now you had the surrounding 5 kings or kingdoms below Gibeon that were going to corral themselves, come together, and wipe out the Gibeonite lands to maintain their stronghold in the south. That makes sense? Okay, so they were sitting back here going to protect their stronghold in the south, as they knew that Joshua and them were descending downhill or down south. Okay? Just to make sure we got this right. So now let's get Joshua chapter 10, verse 1. Yep.
Right.
Karaya, Shan Shabbatah, Ban Ashar, Ban Yashar.
Karaya, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Ashar, Ban Yashar. I'm Muslim. Right? Yahweh Ba'ashim Yashar B'Katah.
Ya Bashim Yashar Bagatam.
Right.
Joshua chapter 10, verse 1.
I need some energy. It's one of those days. We got to kick off all the bad juju, the bad energy, the laid back, sleepy head vibes right now. I know you know when you wake up in the morning, when your body just wants to stay in the bed and not get out the bed, you know that's a spirit you have to fight early and get going and push past what your flesh wants to set the tone for the day as. If you're tired and you're beat down and you're moving slow, that means the spirit is trying to let you know to push past that. There's good things waiting ahead of you. Let's shake off the tiredness, shake off the cobwebs, and let's get really enthusiastic and focused on our task at hand. We're going to read the hell out of this chapter right here. Okay? We're going to read the hell out of Joshua. So let's get our mind ready for it. Let's do it.
Joshua chapter 10 and verse 1. Now it came to pass when, how you pronounce that?
It's Adonizedek.
Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai.
Now, Jerusalem is like it's like direct south of Ai. Jerusalem is direct south. Gibeon was like southwest. Just to have an idea. So, all of the kings are hearing about these Jews' victories. And they're starting to panic. Read on.
And had utterly destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and her king. So he had done to Ai and her king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were among them, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty.
So they had mighty warriors that folded. And they're like, man, they're gaining steam. We can't afford to let these guys get down with them. And now their army is that much greater. We're in trouble. I also want to make sure, when we're sitting back here reading Joshua, I think it's very important to understand not to just look at Joshua as a story of wars and conquest. Because if you just read it about wars and conquest, you're not going to get the real understanding of what Joshua is about. When you sit back and look at Joshua and the wars that the Jews went through under Joshua, look at it in a way of how the Most High starts to develop your personal confidence in the Heavenly Father. That's a very important concept to digest, because when we crossed over the Jordan, what did the Most High do for Israel as we crossed over the Jordan? What do you think the significance of crossing over the Jordan in that fashion was?
It's faith building.
It was faith building. That's exactly what it was. It was faith building. It was a reminder that the Most High is there. And if you look at your personal path with the Most High, you'll also recognize that when He first deals with you, He gives you a faith-building moment to let you know that the Most High is real. He'll give you that reminder, or not even a reminder, He'll fortify you initially to show you that He's real and He's looking after you. And if you stick with Him, He'll keep blessing you. That's why a lot of young men that come in the truth, or young women, when they first get the knowledge, if they're sincere and faithful, the Most High blesses them early, up front, with something that they can hold on to and build steam and momentum with.
Yeah.
That's important to understand, because that's the same way the Most High developed Israel when we crossed over the Jordan. And as we went from crossing the Jordan to the next battle was Jericho, where He sat back and still interceded a lot in that process. All we did was walk around a few times, blow the horn, ram's horn, and we yelled and screamed, and the walls collapsed.
Oh.
Then we sat back here and handled the rest with the wars. The Most High was still showing us He was there. Now, as we went over to Ai, the Most High is now demanding more obedience, more attention to detail. Now He's demanding that we fight more of the things that are inwardly inside us if we want continued success. And that's a concept we have to think about also. If you want continued success with the Most High, He might sit back. He will show you initially He's there. But from here on out, you got to keep putting the works in for the Most High to continue to, I guess, be there and show you He's there. Now it's up to us to start showing the Father our sincerity for us to keep getting blessed. And what we're going to keep reading from here on out in these wars is that the wars don't get any easier. The wars get harder. The wars and the battles get harder. So to get the blessings, it requires more work, more dedication, more sacrifice,
More efficiency.
more spiritual efficiency, more spiritual consistency to get the rewards that we all say that we want.
Which means less room for error.
Exactly.
And what Israel is like is that in their youth, I had the freedom and capacity to make errors. But as time goes forward, moves forward, we have less space for mistakes.
Yep. If we want the desired outcomes we say we want.
God.
So, with that being said, I just want to set the tone the right way. Now you got this king of Jerusalem, and his name was Adonizedek, and he's pissed. So let's continue, sir.
Verse 3. Wherefore Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent unto Hoham, king of Hebron.
King of Hebron. Hebron is further south. And they are one of the royal cities also. So you have Jerusalem, you have Hebron, which is further down south. Read on.
And unto Param, king of Jarmuth.
Mm-hmm.
And unto Japhia, king of Lachish.
Now listen, Jarmuth and Lachish are going westward now. It's like right below Gibeon. So you have south, southeast, and southwest. All the kings surrounding that area. He's getting them geared up to go to war with Gibeon. Read on.
It says, and unto Debir, king of Eglon, saying, come up unto me and help me, that we may smite Gibeon, for it hath made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel.
Where are you, sir?
Verse 4. Verse 4.
Okay, I've already. Okay, go. Keep going.
Verse 5. Therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, gathered themselves together and went up, they and all their hosts, and encamped before Gibeon and made war against it.
Because they were like, you shouldn't have sold us out. You should have sat back and went down with the ship. Like, we're about to go down with the damn ship. So there's 5 kings ready to go to war, and it's all the south of Canaan that's defending their area and their territory. Read on.
Verse 6. And the men of Gibeon sent unto Joshua to the camp of Gilgal, saying, slack not thy hand from thy servants. Come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites that dwell in the mountains are gathered together against us.
Gibeon was like, now we want to pull this brotherhood card now. The servant card. We're your servants. You want your servants to die? Come help us out.
That was a smart card.
Say it. Listen, they were wise men.
Whoever did that was like really.
If you're going to be the nations, listen, I'd rather serve the greatest kingdom on the land than sit back here and just die. Because they was like, listen, you know, all these kings were like, what was the casualty rate? They all died, B. Women and kids. Everybody.
Everybody's getting slayed out.
The damn goats died too, dude.
Yeah.
What the cuss is this?
They killed the cattle out.
They killed they burnt the whole city down. Damn, B. What is this? So there's no way out. Anyway, so let's keep going.
Verse 7. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, and it says, Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said unto Joshua, fear them not.
Hold that. Yes, sir?
That was these things is just teach me more about just how to make decisions. Like, he just did it because it seemed like he did it. It's like, okay, this is the right thing to do. Then he found out along the way the Most High was with him.
Yep.
But he made the decision with the mindset of, so he just made his own decision.
You talking about Joshua?
Yeah.
The decision to give the Gibeonites peace?
No. To ascend from Gilgal and with the people of war to basically go in defense, right?
Well, wait. Okay, what's your question? He says Joshua decided to go out and defend Gibeon.
So
Joshua decided. Don't forget Gilgal. This is a hypothetical map.
Mm-hmm.
You have Gilgal. When you have Gilgal here, Gibeon's here. You have Jerusalem. You have Hebron, and you have all these surrounding kingdoms on the side here, and they're all converging up to Gibeon. We're in Gilgal. Gilgal, the Gibeons sent the message to Gilgal saying, hey, we need your help.
Right.
So now Joshua was like, okay, we're going to go down and help.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
He didn't even pray before.
Well,
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's showing me about decisions. Like, he did it.
Well,
And then find out the Most High was with him.
He made it legal.
Well, okay, listen. It said, hold this. This is where I want to kind of hold it, because there was a part
Okay.
where okay, I get what you're saying, because what I'm saying is about how long it took to get from Gilgal to Gibeon. But what you're saying is that they went down, and he just made the move to sit back here and go fight the Gibeonites, not Gibeonites, but to protect the Gibeonites and take out the rest of the nation. I guess I understand what you're saying about not necessarily going through counsel and inquiring of the Lord.
Well, I mean, just day by day, because you said in the beginning, like, we're using this to digest and reflect on ourselves.
Yeah, I'm not tripping. I'm not you.
No, I'm not either. I'm just saying this is day by day decision making, because sometimes you struggle with making decisions.
Well, you got to understand also, he was a military general also.
Right.
So in his processing, he had a chance to take out 5 kings in one shot.
Right.
On a military scenario, it might not have been the best decision on the numbers level, because those 5 kings outnumbered the Jews. But on the flip side, this was their opportunity to take the entire South.
Right.
This was their shot. And also, they know they have help with the Gibeonites. So now I got an entire kingdom that's willing to help. Then you got us.
Right.
Us and these Gibeonites against these 5. We have a better shot. We have a better shot at defeating them with these Gibeonites with us than without. So I guess it's just as we continue to read on in the Josephus specifically, a lot of the decisions and the moves moving forward were based upon obviously the spirit, but military strategy and counting the cost on a military level.
He was defending an alliance.
Yes.
That's a decision you got to make. You make an alliance, you have to defend the alliance.
Like we read in the scriptures, he's giving us one of the royal cities, and they had good warriors and fighters. Gibeon had help. So they were help. Why not on a military level protect the help and seize the South?
Right.
But I get what you're saying. What you're saying is, did he inquire of the Lord before? The truth is this. It didn't necessarily say he didn't.
Okay, right.
It didn't necessarily say that he didn't inquire of the Lord. But we do know that by the time he got there, the Most High reassured him it was going to be okay.
And that's what I mean. Like, you read the scriptures, sometimes, Lord, would you give these people into my hand? Would you give these people into my hand?
Yes.
And in some decisions, it's, I'm going here to go do it. I know what must be done, counsel myself, and then, hey, the Lord says, either don't go,
Yeah.
or go.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're always waiting for, like, Lord, what should I do?
Now, a lot of times when people were in a position of waiting and asking, they're afraid.
Right. Yeah.
And there was a lot of times when they would sit back here and stop what they're doing because they were scared. They were shooting bricks
Right.
because of what this kingdom could do, or the possibility of loss.
Right.
Joshua had full confidence that the Most High was with them from the prior battles. There were other scenarios where they didn't know what the Most High was going to bless them or take care of. So I think on this one, it was more about the fact that the brother knew the Most High was with him. The brother knew that through all the previous wars, and also on the flip side, listen, the Most High promised this land to us either way.
Right.
So all we had to do was be in order and go attack. Because the crazy thing is, even through this, even in this next battle, there were a lot of things that just worked out. There were a lot of things that just worked out in our favor without our strategy and skill. Because when we're fighting our battles, when we're doing things the right way, it's, I don't want to put a percentage on it. There is a certain percentage that of faith, discipline, paying attention to detail, being thorough, being organized, and it's also a portion of the Most High's mercy and the Most High coming through for us. It's a combination of both in regards to getting blessed by the Heavenly Father, in regards to what it takes to get blessed by the Heavenly Father. What you gonna say?
In my experience in life, in truth, the Most High blesses how willing a person is to address the problem. It's not necessarily skill set, technique, and ability, because we've dealt with whenever we train young men from scratch, they're not going to come with perfect method and perfect technique.
Mm-hmm.
But they always come with, well, not always, but the majority of them come with the spirit of desire and willingness. The Most High initially blesses and gives them victories based on their willingness of character.
Yep.
Am I willing? Because Scripture says Israel doesn't have a willing heart.
Yep.
That has only a willing heart. He said he works not what you have not, but what you what? Have. So if you don't have anything else except for willingness, I don't have skill, I don't have ability, but I have willingness, the Most High will honor that. Now,
until it's time for you to show that you've learned more.
This is the problem with Israel, though. Once you come in that youth, novice, young stage of just off of zeal and will, then he requires the transition to more understanding, more method, more tactic, because you have to learn how to train the next generation. You're transitioning to a person that can train someone now.
And also the reality is this, like what you were saying, not gonna lie, the blessings are always guaranteed to us. Just like in this situation, the kingdom was guaranteed.
That's true.
Yeah. We just had to have faith. But the problem is this: it's easier said than done sometimes.
Exactly.
The problem is this, and I don't care who we are as individuals. What kills? What eats at us? We might have overcome 1, 2, and 3, but 4 is bigger. 4 is even harder, or it looks harder to accomplish than the accomplishments from 3, 2, and 1. And the Most High continues to up the ante, so to speak, to force us to do what? To cleave to Him. Yes, sir.
And I look at this, the book of Joshua, to me, mirrors the book of Maccabees. When you look at the individual battles of Maccabees, his wars went from small victories, and they got more and more intense. There's more and more kings gathering together, coming against the Hebrews.
The numbers are larger.
And they overcame those obstacles, and it just keeps intensifying. The size of the wars would intensify. When you look at the Maccabee wars, the wars kept intensifying, the size of the nations kept intensifying. And I think Judas Maccabees was going off for the history of Israel. How the Most High was with Joshua, he was with David, so he'll be with him also. It's always about going back to our past and using our past victories to help us deal with the battle in front of us.
But the crazy thing is this: even if you're dealing in war, you're dealing in fighting your battle, how does the Most High bless you? What is faith? Because listen, what does it mean to have faith? And what does it mean for them? How does the Most High acknowledge your faith? Because I'm not going to make about a faith class necessarily, but if I'm fighting in the war, how do you know a person has faith? His faith is based upon what? From a fighting perspective. Has anybody been in a fight, like if you're in karate and you did sparring, or in a street fight? Who was the person that was normally the most victorious?
The person that was more experienced.
The person that was calm.
Calm is one.
Accepted.
But what else? What else with the calm? It's calm and it's what?
Patience.
No hesitation. No hesitation. The person that hesitates gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Why does the person hesitate? They're afraid.
Yeah.
They're overthinking. They're thinking about what bad can happen. You can't think that much. You have to be calm. I'm not knocking that, but fear comes out when I'm through my hesitation, through my lack of confidence. Lack of confidence is based upon hesitation and pulling punches and not being sure about what you do.
The more battles you fight, your body starts to do it on its own.
Con, but I don't forget, these are the same cats. They're going southward. They're fighting these Anakims, Zach. They're still going at giants, Zach. And they were the worst down south. Because don't forget, the Most High, listen, Moses wanted Israel to go from the south up. They were the worst of the worst going down south. They weren't giants in Jericho. They weren't the giants in Ai. The giants were going down southward. Was that?
I got a scripture.
So, okay, but this is, now the stakes are higher. They're bigger, they're badder, they're more ferocious. And you got 5 kingdoms set up against one, and you're not 100% sure if these Gibeonite cats is going to, we don't know what kind of fighters they are. The stakes keep rising. What you going to say, though, yeah?
It says in Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 26, it says, be not overwise in doing thy business.
Is Ecclesiastes what?
Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 10, verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
So it says, be not overwise in doing thy business. Overwise is talking about being over analytical.
Yes.
Over analytical means analysis by paralysis.
Yes.
Being over perfectionist. Now,
It'll create a spirit of hesitation.
we're supposed to strive for perfection. When it comes time for action, you have to commit to action. Being over analytical, Scripture says, be not overwise in thy business. For many years of dealing with people, the times that I was over analytical and I thought too much, I couldn't execute because I was thinking as I executed. It's because of how you cut your mind off. You've already committed to the process. It's going to come out. It's going to come out.
Yes.
You've counseled. You've prayed. Everything
Now it's time to go.
And now it's time to operate because overthinking doesn't get things accomplished.
Yep.
All right.
Like when,
Yes.
like, I never really get nervous. I'm pretty confident, but when I do get nervous, I don't overthink. I just tell myself, you know, just do what you know how to do, and just execute. So do what you know is right in the sight of the Most High.
Good. Good. And that's the thing. There's a time to think, time to process, then it's time to go. And the Most High honors us when we go through the proper process. It was go time now. Yes,
I got one more scripture too. Philippians 4 and 6. Philippians 4 and 6. This is the first part of the scripture.
Philippians chapter 4 and verse 6. Be careful for nothing.
Read it again.
It says, be careful for nothing.
And I said, when I was dealing with a period of time when I was over analytical, I had to read the scripture. The scripture says, you know what? The Bible says, be careful for nothing. Now the Bible says you to be careful and to be careful for nothing. What it's telling you, you have to make sure you're considerate of the Most High, but you can't get in the spirit of being over analytical. That's how people deal with. I can't speak. I can't give a presentation. I can't talk. I can't address this customer. I can't talk to this person. They're too great for me to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Most High says not to have to turn for not to be overthrown by over bashfulness of men. Meaning I'm looking at these men and I'm diffident and now fearful because I'm looking at a man's authority or a man's nature or a man's prosperity. If I look at men, it's just these are men. I'm gonna go ahead and deal with them based on the Most High. Is that clear?
You bring up age before time.
Yeah. Over carefulness bringeth age before time. So that's a good point. Over carefulness bringeth age before time. So being over analytical, we didn't say think. If you stick to the process of counseling and prayer, and then you practice what you preach, meaning you stick to a routine and a regimen, you're exercising yourself and practicing. Now when battles come, it's time to execute. I've done all the prayer I can do. I've done all the study I can do. I've done all the counseling I can do. Now it's time for action. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes in the Apocrypha, in the Bible, chapter 3, there's a season for all things, right? Time for war, time for hate, time to love.
Yep.
Right? There's a time for straight action. We have to know when is that time for straight action and not to be overlooked, not to be in my head.
And don't forget this. I want to bring this up on your point and on your point. Let's go back to the antiquities of the Jews
Come.
in the Josephus, book 5, chapter 1, paragraph 13. Paragraph 13, because this was when we took that L in AI. because of Achan. Okay?
Yeah.
So this was when Joshua approached the Most High, started praying to him, and trying to understand why the hell we lost to AI and lost 36 men in this damn battle. So give me paragraph 13, Antiquities of the Jews, book 5, chapter 1, paragraph 13. Read that, someone, please.
You got it.
Antiquities of the Jews, book 5, chapter 1, paragraph 13. When Joshua saw the army so much afflicted and possessed with forebodings of evil as to their whole expedition, he used freedom with the Most High.
So he was frank with the Most High. He said, man, I got to pray to the Most High, find out why the hell we're getting stung like this. Read on.
And said, we are not come thus far out of any rashness of our own, as though we thought ourselves able to subdue this land with our own weapons. But at the instigation of Moses.
So he's going into this process like, listen, man, we're not here because we feel like just taking out kingdoms for the hell of it, and we're not doing this to be cavalier. We're doing this because Moses told us this was the path that we're supposed to go. So the thinking process was already worked out.
Come.
They didn't know how they were going to do it,
Right.
but when they got opportunities, they were going to go do it.
Amen.
They were going to take these people out because Moses told us to do it. And the Most High through Moses said, we're going to take out these people because this is our land, so that's why we're here. And what Joshua was approaching the Most High, we're not doing this out of greed, out of any selfish intent. Because this is the process we have to go through. Am I doing these things for selfish intent,
Selfish
to
gain.
come up, selfish gain, or is this for the right reasons?
Come.
That allows you, that takes yourself mentally off the hook to hesitate. I'm not going to hesitate because I know why I'm doing this. I know why we're all doing this. We're not just being bloodthirsty for the hell of being bloodthirsty. We're going to war because it's the battle that's necessary. So let me mentally get off the hook. But he's like, damn, Father, why are we losing when you wanted us to do this?
Exactly.
Through Moses' instigation.
That was the council.
So that was the council already before they crossed Jordan. So there's no reason to overthink now. Now it's just about reacting, taking these dudes out. Gibeon is telling us they need help. There's 5 kings surrounding them. Let's go whip their ass, win this, and get the whole side. Continue.
But at the instigation of Moses, thy servant, for this purpose, because thou hast promised us by many
He
signs.
says, you've shown us multiple times we're supposed to be here. So now it's reaction time.
Yep.
Right.
Now is when I get information here or there, let's pounce on the situation.
Yeah.
It's time to get. Really, it was no different than what Esau said in their own wicked, non-biblical way. Their whole manifest destiny concept. God told us we can kill these niggers and Indians from sea to shining sea.
And they knew they had a window. They took the
Listen,
window.
they said, by God, we're going to get these niggers and Indians, these reds and these
Got it.
coloreds
Yep.
and these Mexicans. We're going to take this whole countryside.
And be rich.
And they was vigilant act. We getting Gad in the mountains act. They went crazy on Gad act. Gad hit in the mountains and said like, no, we're going to get these dudes. We're going to get them in the mountains too. We're going to subdue the whole countryside. They were better than us. We got all lazy. Because what it's going to say is that later on is that Joshua was getting older, and the next generation was going to have to take out the bordering countries of Canaan, because they were in tough terrains, and it would have took multiple expeditions and multiple fights to subdue the entirety of the coastline. So Esau like, fine. Esau like, fine. We'll take us 50 years. We're gonna kill him. We're gonna kill him dead. We got lazy. Nah, it's cool. Let them niggas stay there. We got it. Difference in mentality.
Yeah.
But the Most High wanted us to finish off the whole land because it was ours. So this prayer that Joshua approached and communicated to the Most High was confirmation of the point. All the crosses and the dots were already accomplished. We knew what we had to do. We just didn't know how it was going to get done. So pretty much, you just got to go with the flow. And when the Most High provides an opportunity, He already reminded us multiple times that He was with us.
Like that's the line you said before. Yeah, I got to cross the river.
Yep. He was. I don't know how the hell it's going to happen. So you know the brightest idea he could do. I don't know how we're going to do it. Well, I know I ain't shit. I might go in this water and die in 5 minutes. Bring the ark out first, Zach. He ain't going to destroy the ark.
Good decision.
That was brilliant. Listen, bring the ark out because there's a lot of important shit in there that the Most High don't want wet. Think about it.
Yeah.
So bring this. Oh, it's working. Okay, y'all stay right in the middle of the ocean, Levites, and hold it, and let an entire nation will walk past you. Brilliant. The Most High's with us. But you still don't know how it's going to happen to you. You just got to go with the flow. Because the truth is, that's really what faith is.
Day by
See, in
day.
the back-
You got to go with the flow, and then the Most High starts to show you, I'm here.
As you're in the fight.
But that fear and that tension is going to be there. That how is this going to work out? Oh shit, man! Did we make enough plans? We got provisions. How's it going to work? How long is this fight going to be? That's not in the equation. So I think we got that point, right?
I got to put one more scripture.
Okay.
First Maccabees, chapter 9.
Matter of fact, let me finish this reading,
Okay, go ahead.
and then we'll go back and do your verse, and then we'll go another point of Josephus. Read on, sir.
But at the instigation of Moses, thy servant, for this purpose, because thou hast promised us by many signs that thou wouldest give us this land for a possession, and that thou wouldest make our army always superior in war to our enemies.
And that's the thing. We were always going to be superior despite the numbers.
God.
We were always going to be superior despite the numbers. And this is the confidence the Most High always reminds us. Despite how large this group is, despite how difficult the ontaking that we have, He's going to be with us.
I got to pull a scripture.
Okay.
I got to pull
No! Nah!
First Maccabees.
Hold your point, guy.
First Maccabees, chapter 9, and verse 6.
First Maccabees chapter 9 and verse 6 reads,
Uh-huh.
who seeing the multitude of the other army to be so great were sore afraid.
So this is the wars of Maccabees. This is Judas Maccabees' last war. And his army, this is the issue his army had. They saw great,
Shalom.
expansive military in front of them. Read on.
It says, whereupon many conveyed themselves out of the host.
So many snuck out of the army.
Because first of all, these armies were more advanced than these are. This is prehistoric stuff in Canaan.
Yeah.
The Greeks was coming with it, right? But keep going.
Read on.
It says, insomuch as there abode of them no more but 800 men.
So they started out with a good group of men. You looked up, they got 800 men left that are ready to ride.
Listen, can you imagine the spirit of despair on the people? The spirit of fear and panic when everybody's bouncing, there's just 800 cats left? That's demoralizing. Read on.
Read on.
Verse 7. When Judas therefore saw that his host slipped away,
His host did what?
it said his host slipped away.
His own military.
They snuck out that.
His own military started to disappear and hide and run.
Yep.
Read on.
And that the battle pressed upon him, he was sore troubled in mind.
Because he didn't prepare for this. I didn't prepare to sit here and look up and I got a small amount of men left.
Yep.
Based off how many people are in front of us. Read on.
And much distressed, for that he had no time to gather them together.
Man.
The battle's already on.
And listen, I can't chase them back. I can't convince them to fight. Because you know what happens is, Israel will play like they strong. And at the moment that you need them the most, they'll bounce on you. You know how many times that happens? Like, you know how many you know how many, like, just in our arenas, we'll sit back here and put contacts together and We'll sit back and set up zones and endeavors with the camp out. And everybody knows what we're about to do. And everybody knows that they're needed to do this job. And as soon as we do it, we sign the contract, the next day brothers quit.
Happen all the time.
You know how many times that's happened that?
Yeah.
And we're stuck. We're stuck holding it back. I'm like, dude, if you was going to bounce, why didn't you say something before? We wouldn't have did this.
Yeah. They made a dumb decision.
Everybody's like, Khan, we'll be there.
Yeah.
And then the next day or next couple days, they're gone.
Yeah.
What the cuss is that?
And we discussed these things.
And we talked about it. They knew what we needed and where we were going. Then you exit stage left. And I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, the exit stage left out.
Yeah.
Snaggle.
That's who was it again?
Snaggle, right?
That was him. Yeah. It was him. I forgot the dude's name.
Snaggle?
You took the name. You took the word out. I was thinking him. You're like, exit stage left. But that's what Israel does all the time. Yeah. Thank you. And was I the only guy that watched that, dude? It was hilarious. Point is that Israel does it all the time. Everybody agrees to go to war at a certain time, and then cats don't show up when you need them. But keep going. Deserters.
Read on. It says,
nevertheless unto them that remained, he said, let us arise and go up against our enemies.
You don't even make. One monkey don't stop no show.
it's about the principle, bro.
It's the truth,
It's about the principle.
If the Most High is with you, He's with you.
But also just shows win, lose, or draw, the Most High desires to stand on the principle.
I know.
And when we break principle, because we're looking at the physical numbers and we're getting stressed out, we're overanalyzing, we're being over careful, we're being over wise. We've already counseled with God. We already prayed the Most High. We already made strategy. And now there's nothing else to do but handle the business.
So your faith shouldn't waver based on your outside circumstances.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen,
Or based if the plans sometimes you're too deep in. You got to just finish the battle.
You gotta finish at all costs. At all costs. Read on.
It says, if peradventure we may be able to fight with them.
That's why Scripture says, once you've counseled, repent not.
No.
Once you've made a decision to go forward, there's no time to repent and change it.
Come.
Read on.
Read on.
Verse 9, but they dehorted him.
They did what?
Dehorted him.
They said something contrary. Read on.
Saying, we shall never be able.
That's what's in their mind. The Most High was with them. If He be with us, who can be against us? And the wars of Joshua proved this point already. But everybody had to fear the Most High. Read on.
Let us now rather save our lives.
Uh-huh.
And hereafter we will return with our
So we're
brethren.
gonna gather more guys that don't believe. I mean, this is one of the last wars of Israel. Why wasn't everybody present in the first place? Read on.
It says, and fight against them, for we are but few.
Read on.
Then Judas said, Most High forbid that I should do this thing and flee away from them. If our time be come, let us die manfully for our brethren, and let us not stain our honor.
We gotta stand on the principle. We gotta stand on the principle because this is the counsel, this is the focus, this is what we tell the Most High. We were committed to do this. We can't retract ourselves.
That is the mindset of a finisher. The Most High wants us to finish things, right? Moses said He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. The only way to truly finish is going to come times where you got to say, man, if this is my end, this is my end. If we fall, we fall.
Oh.
I'm going to finish what I started. Because that's the only way a man or a woman can finish anything difficult. Marriage, camps, the body. You don't know how many times we've had to sit back and say, this is it, man. We're going to ride this damn thing out till the goddamn wheels fall off. You know what? The wheels never fell off.
And we've been there many times.
But that's the point.
We've been there at a time. I remember back in the day. I was like a young guy, bro. I'm looking up. We got 4 guys left.
Yep.
There's only 4 guys left.
Yep.
And he's like, you know what? We're all rookies. We have no experience. We don't know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just, okay, it's these 2 brothers, well, 3 brothers, and this 4 young guys. And we had to carry the camp because if you don't keep it going, then people don't have a school to go to.
Yeah.
Families don't have a place to go hear the Bible.
Yeah.
So you 4 guys, the only guys left, And we're gonna ride this out, win, lose, or draw. If we gotta fall on our sword, we gotta fall on our sword. We're not gonna fall. We're not gonna run. We're gonna fight until we can't fight no more. And this situation happened again. And then we were just a handful of guys left, and then Most High brought it all back again. Then we did it again. This was 3 years ago. The last time was 3 years ago.
Yep.
And it's not gonna go back to ever again. But 3 years ago, we look at so many guys that are willing to fight to keep it going. Like, you know what, man?
If that's it, that's it.
We had that talk. We had that talk. Listen, man. Listen, bro. We gonna just do what we gotta do until we can't do it no more.
And if
it don't work,
whoever don't want to do it, y'all can go, or just don't come up tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow fighting. Because that is the ultimate template or test to see does the person believe or not. You gonna go down with the ship or not?
when the marriage don't look good, when your health don't look good, when business don't look good, when things in the camp don't look good, that's the most I've seen how much faith you have left in the tank. And only it's a small amount. You have a small amount of faith, he can bring you back from damn near death circumstances.
Yep. All facts. So, you got more on that verse?
One last point. And that's why we can't, when you get the spirit of overanalyzing, you have to reach out and talk to a stronger sister or a stronger brother. You have to talk to somebody else.
Because you'll overanalyze yourself out of your battle.
We're not good alone, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. We're just not good alone. When we're alone, it's mad.
What I was gonna ask if, and overanalyzing, I think everyone was about to cover it, what did it lead into the whole condemning? Like, this is so much.
When you say condemning, what do you mean by condemning?
Like, you just quit, like,
Yep.
you quit.
Because you overanalyze, and what happened, it will say, this doesn't make logical sense. And sometimes you can out-logic yourself out of a battle that's supposed to be more about faith than logic. Logic only goes so far in this spiritual realm. If it's about logic, teaching the nation of Israel, it's not a logical decision. Making the decision to work and serve the body of Christ is not logical at all. What's logical is to go and make this bread in the world and live your life, and not have to deal with sick people every day and vomit. I remember years ago, brothers would say that serving the Most High and doing His work is like you become an expert shit shoveler. Because that's what we do every day. We shovel each other's shit in the name of Christ. Now, if I'm in a field of manure or shit, and I'm around 25 people who are shoveling shit all around each other, what's going to happen to you? You know what you're going to get? You're going to get some shit right here. You're going to get some shit right in your lips. And then as soon as you spit out that shit, you're going to get some more shit hit you in the face, in the eye, in the hair, in the ears. Because that's what dealing with Israel is. Dealing with their vomit, their anger, their hatred. It's always your fault. It's always your fault. It's always my fault. That's the shit. You are always accused of things. With this, you know what's crazy? Because we're so interdependent of one another, and we're in such a needy state, the people who get attacked the most are the ones who give the most to the people. That's just part of the game. If you're a husband, just know that your wife is going to tell you that the reason that it's cold outside in the morning is because of you. The reason that it's sunny outside in the morning is because of you. These are the facts. And vice versa. With around men, the one who has to be responsible for others is going to be the blame for others. That's just the game. That's just the work that we chose to do. So on a logical level, Scripture says, heal the sick, cleanse the leper. You know that is the most illogical thing to do in the world. It's the most selfless, and you get the least out of it. It's healing sick people all day. It's like working at a hospital, man. You help people, but you are around sickness and sadness every day.
Sleeping.
What's that?
Like sleeping at the hospital.
It's so difficult on a morale level. You might heal one person. For every one person you heal, you lose 15. But how do you look at it? I can't do this shitty job? Or are you doing it just for the money? Or are you doing it to help the people? And it's the same thing for us. We do this to help the one, and we can't control if the 15 are going to die. You just got to give the most you can to the 15. If they want to continue and take the treatment, cool. If they can't and they don't, they don't. You can't control the scenario. But the point goes back to logic. Overthinking, overanalyzing. This realm isn't built that way. You overanalyze, you overthink, you're going to get yourself nowhere. It's just what it is. Yes, sir?
I wanted to bring out this one word that kind of is allegiance.
Okay.
The etymology definition is pretty.
Where was allegiance written about?
Now it just ties down to what we were talking about us binding to what the Most High is asking us to do, or what He requires us to do.
Okay.
And the definition says the act of binding yourself intellectually or emotionally to a course of action.
Got it.
So it's like when the Most High is telling us to do something, or He requires us to do a certain amount of work, He requires faith, He requires us to be determined, and He requires us not to quit.
I even respect what the Canaanites that was in Jerusalem, Lachish, Debir, Libnah, and Jarmuth did. You know when they was mad at the Gibeonites? Like, listen, dude, if we're gonna fall, let's fall together. Don't be a little bi and sit back here and run at these cats with your tail behind. You're a proud nation of the Canaanites. If you're gonna die, die, man. Don't cower like a little broad. You know why that's right? Because the Most High told us the same thing with Babylon. We're going to go into a class on the line, but the crazy thing is when Babylon was about to take out the Jews, when Babylon in around 586 BC, and Jeremiah kept saying, listen, man, Babylon's coming to get your ass. We all going to Babylon, bro. It's over. You know what the Jews were saying? Let's go to Egypt. Let's go to Egypt, son. Hey, let's take this bread and go to Egypt, son. Let's get away from this war. Mosiah was like, no. If you're not going to serve me, you're going to learn servitude. You're going to have to go down with the damn ship. And then the Mosiah said, you know what? You're not going to be in listen, this is the funny thing. The Jews approached Jeremiah and said, Jeremiah, can you let us know what the Most High wants us to do? We were thinking about going to Egypt. Jeremiah said, I'll get back to you. I'm going to talk to the Most High. 10 days goes by. Jeremiah says, I got the answer from the Most High. And the Most High said to stay in Babylon, don't leave. They got mad at him. They said, man, you're just saying that shit. they said, that's not what the Most High wants. You're just saying that.
Yeah. That's what you think.
That's what but they told Jeremiah earlier, whatever the verdict is, we're going to go follow it.
That's like that in council. In council, I want some counsel. I'll give me some counsel. I need help. No problem. This is the answer. I'm not feeling that, bro.
But listen, they want the counsel. But they said, nah, Jeremiah, that's not the counsel, man. That wasn't really what the counsel said. You just made that up to fit you. Because Baruch was with the guys that was trying to leave and go to Egypt. Now, Baruch was Jeremiah's number 2. So, you know what they said? Jeremiah just said that because he's trying to keep Baruch with him. They literally said that, huh? But the Most High said, no, I don't want you going to Egypt, because if you go to Egypt, I'm going to get your ass in Egypt and bring your ass to Babylon. You're gonna serve me, and you're going to serve this sentence I got for you.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is, them niggas left and went to Egypt.
That's his word.
They left and went to Egypt, and guess what happened? After Babylon finished out Jerusalem, they went to Egypt. The Babylonians went to Egypt, subdued those Jews, and sent them back up to Babylon anyway. That's the truth. Point is, he's like, listen, man, everybody got to go down with the ship. You can't accept the good and not have to sit back and deal with the bad. And also, if you're going to fall, if you're going to grow and build as a nation or a family, you got to fall as a nation or a family. People don't understand that concept. That's honor. That's honorable. If you're going to go up and rise with the group, you fall with the group.
All I do is win.
Because everybody's selfish and they're about number one and about whatever makes them feel good. But that's not the Most High. That's why the idea that Gibeon sold out and turncoated was a disrespectful thing to their people. If we're going to all die as a nation, if we're going to be eradicated, then let's be eradicated. Together as a body, side by side. And then cooning and listen, my God is El. Who's this heavenly Yahweh? That's not my God. I'm going with El. I'm going down with El. I made all this money with El. I'm about to fall with El. Most High is the same way with his people. When we're up, cool. When we're down, we're down. And none of us can escape to lands and different. That's why the Most High said in Deuteronomy, you can go to different places. It don't matter.
That's why that prosperity doctrine hits so much. I was talking to a person a couple of days ago. Their son, we was rocking with him, showing him a few things. Met his mom indirectly, and she wasn't really receiving anything.
Yep.
Because she was just like, man, you know what? My life got jacked up when I stopped giving my tithes to my pastor.
Oh.
She's like, when I was giving my tithes, I was up. I just gotta go get my tithes.
That's it.
That's all. She's looking for prosperity. She just wanted she just wanted to win.
Brother, you give my money up. Listen, people would rather give that than their time,
Right.
than their spirit, than their dedication.
Prosperity.
But yeah, man. So that's what's up. You have any more of that? Let's go back to Antiquities of the Jews, Book 5, Chapter 1, the paragraph 17. Because I kind of want to go into once Joshua got the news that Gibeon was in need, how quickly they respond and what happened. Read that.
Paragraph 17.
Yep.
But the king of Jerusalem took it to the heart that the Gibeonites had gone over to Joshua.
Yeah, he took it personal. Read on.
So he called upon the kings of the neighboring nations to join together and make war against them. Now when the Gibeonites saw these kings, which were 4, besides the king of Jerusalem, and perceived that they had pitched their camp at a certain fountain not far from their city, and were getting ready for the siege of it, they called upon Joshua to assist them. For such was their case as to expect to be destroyed by these Canaanites, but to suppose that they should be saved by those that came for the destruction of the Canaanites, because of the league of friendship that was between them. Accordingly, Joshua made haste with his whole army to assist them, and marching day and night. In the morning he fell upon the enemies as they were going up to the siege.
Stop. We're going to hold that. First of all, the type of spirit that these men were on, what type of ability they had, we're going to ride day and night and then get back in the morning. That's a full day's ride before we start kicking ass. You know how exhausting riding 24 hours? Listen, how do you feel driving from here to El Paso?
It's a different caliber.
You're done, bro. Driving in the car from here to El Paso was 8 hours. You're done, B. Maybe if you knock out a 10 to 12 hour. Listen, imagine driving 12 hours. Who's driven 12 hours to 15 hours? How do you feel after the drive? You feel like shit.
21.
Even worse. You go from here to Albuquerque, you can forget it, bro. That's 16 hours. You're done. You're kaput. You're finished. You're not on a horse. On a horse, your legs are on fire. No. You're not doing this. You're not on a pony. This is not some damn pony. Listen, you got to use your legs to keep from all this bouncing around. You're in gallop. Your legs are connected tight to the damn horse. 24 hours. You're pushing it. Your legs are gone. Anyway, that's how I imagine it. Like 24 hours full gallop to the fight spot.
That horse.
Listen, the horse was obviously they fed the horse or whatever. They gave him some water, let him breathe a little bit. But your legs are still burning out. Now it's life or death when I get there. There's no it's life or death, B.
You had time to think about it. You had time to think about it.
It's like this. I'm here like, as soon as I get off this horse, I'm taking my sword out of my sheath and I'm killing ham.
12 heads.
I'm killing ham all night. Another night. Just keep that in mind. 24 hours, bro. Just riding horses out. Anyway, let's keep going in the Bible. Joshua chapter 10, verse 8. Verse 7.
Verse 7. Joshua chapter 10 and verse 7. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor.
25-hour ride. Read on.
Verse 8. And the Lord said unto Joshua, fear them not, for I have delivered them into thine hand. There shall not a man of them stand before thee.
Listen, 5 kings are going down. Their whole nation's going down. Read on.
Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And the Most High discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Beth Horon, and smote them to Azkah, and unto Makkedah. Verse 11.
That means they kept going south. Makkedah is south. All these spots, they kept taking them south. They kept running south.
It's hard work, man.
Hey, listen, first of all, 24 hours get up there. Then you kill him in Gibeon, and you're chasing the remnant going downhill.
Yeah.
Legs are on fire, B. Bloody, the whole nine. Guts on your face. It wasn't like pew 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 pew. You sitting back here killing and stabbing people. Anyway, let's keep going. Whole body is first of all, it's whole body workout.
Right.
You got blood and guts on you everywhere, bro.
David said his sword clave to his hand. That means there's a lot of blood on your hand.
Yeah.
But the mental mindset you gotta have, like constantly.
The adrenaline, you're turned up. You're turned up.
Mental fatigue.
That's true.
Verse 11. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down up to Beth Horon, that the Heavenly Father cast down great stones from heaven upon them.
Listen, that's even more fire,
Wait, what's that?
It's a read verse 11 again.
Verse 11, Joshua chapter 10 and verse 11. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel, and were in the going down to Beth Horon, that the Heavenly Father cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died.
Hailstorms, He was sitting back here sending hailstorms, big rocks from the damn sky. Great stones, slowing these cats down. Read on.
They were more which died with hailstones, that they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword.
So first of all, that's a reminder once again the Most High was what? It wasn't your power alone.
Yep.
It was me. I'm killing more of these son of a bitches than you. You understand, the Most High had a real beef with Canaan. He hated those people. He felt Canaan defiled their land, defiled his land with their ways. They weren't supposed to be in Canaan. That wasn't meant for them. But he said he killed more of them with the hailstones than Israel with their hands. What is also shown is they were already afraid. The nations were afraid. All they had to do was punch them in the mouth a couple times, and they just ran out. This is what Moses was trying to tell them before. You go punch them in the mouth, they're going to break. Anyway, Read on.
Verse 12. Joshua chapter 10, verse 12. Then spake Joshua to the heavenly Father in the day when the Most High
hold
delivered.
that. Matter of fact, hold that. I want to go. And well, let me see.
You know what also shows up? It shows the Most High always, he'll show up in your battle for you. As long as you commit the process, he'll show up in your battle for you when you need it.
Huh?
Continuing in the scriptures, and then we're going to go to Josephus real quick.
Yeah.
Joshua chapter 10 and verse 12. Then spake Joshua to the heavenly Father in the day when the Most High delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel.
So in the midst of these hailstorms taking down these Amorites, these Hamites. Read on.
And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou, moon, in the valley of Ajalon.
He was asking the Most High for the sun to stay up and the moon to stay where you're at, because we need this light to whip these dudes' ass and finish them off. Read on.
Verse 13. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Joshua?
Mm-hmm.
So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
So the Most High time stopped for Joshua.
Clocks are not working.
Listen, the clocks stopped.
Not
Yeah,
working.
there's no.
There's no tick-ticks.
It stopped.
So it's like the first daylight savings time here.
No, it wasn't even daylight savings time.
No, it's not
The clock does this, and it stops.
Time's not moving.
It ain't moving no more. It stopped.
There's no daylight.
And you know these guys are running from hailstorms. Like, shit, how come it's overly sunny right now? It should be time for us to get. We need to be hiding in the damn in a cover of darkness somewhere.
30 at night. Right.
But listen, it's 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. How come it's still out? Exactly. But that's the whole point. Once again, all this is saying is that the Most High will open and provide a way for us to accomplish the goals the Most High has set for us, if our will and desire is there. That's what this is saying. Okay? And also, in this verse 13 is where you get a lot of people saying, see, this is why I should read the whole damn book of Joshua. Because they said that this story was talked about in the book of Joshua. You know what my retort to that is? Then all you got to do is if this story is in the book of Joshua, then the story is in the book of Joshua. Most High didn't say read the rest of this damn book of Joshua. He just said this story was talked about in Joshua, and if it is, cool. He didn't say read the other BS in that damn book. Because a lot of people will sit back here. Listen, there's no guarantee that this book of Joshua is the book of Joshua that people are reading now. I'm saying that for the people that are trying to be pro-Joshua, pro-outside books. This verse is not giving us the clearance to read these other books.
Yeah.
And it's about getting these other doctrine. Because if it's not talked about in the scriptures, you can't go off of it.
Exactly.
They just said this story was talked about in Joshua, then this is as far as the story gets.
They be coming at you hard. Like, hey man, oh you ain't read? Man.
Oh, you missing out.
Right.
It's like, dog, man, this is some fire stuff. But listen, it ain't going with the scriptures.
Right.
It ain't going with the scriptures. So you know what, man, stay away from it.
Just trying to keep you.
Brother, keep it simple. There's enough information in this book to keep everybody busy. So, now, with that being said, no, read verse 14.
Verse 14. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Heavenly Father hearkened unto the voice of a man. For the Most High fought for Israel.
So, it's never happened like that before. But the Most High kept showing us He was with us if we keep doing the right thing.
Because his intention, I'm sorry.
You know, it's fine.
His intent, that's what we were talking about earlier. His intention It wasn't about him bravado and being egotistic.
Yep.
Like, look, this is for the valor.
He was like, we need this to get this job done. Because this is going to cover the entire South. This frees up the entire South for our people. We're halfway done by taking these people out. By winning this war was so strategic, it gave us the South. Okay? Now we go back to the Josephus.
He's like in the middle section.
Yeah. It said, accordingly, Joshua made haste with his army. No. It says,
so system, marching day and night.
yeah. And when he had discomfited them.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. So do you want me to start?
And when he had discomfited them.
And when he had discomfited
So
them.
once again, this is the Antiquities of the Jews, Book 5, Chapter 1, Paragraph 17, towards the end. You know?
And when he had discomfited them, he followed them and pursued them down the descent of the hills. The place is called Beth Horon, where he also understood that the Most High assisted him, which he declared by thunder and thunderbolts.
It was thunder and thunderbolts and that hail line. Can you imagine getting zapped by thunderbolts? That's crazy. These dudes knew it was over. Hail, thunderbolts, storming. It was over. It's game over.
Esau using the X-Men, Thor.
But it's Most High. It wasn't Storm. It wasn't Storm doing that shit.
Was it Halle Berry?
It wasn't Halle Berry and Storm doing it. That was the Most High throwing the thunderbolts and storms. Read on.
Line 61. Moreover, it happened that the day was lengthened, that the night might not come on too soon, and be an obstruction to the zeal of the Hebrews in pursuing their enemies, insomuch that Joshua took the kings who were hidden in a certain cave at Makkedah and put them to death. Now that the day was lengthened at this time and was longer than ordinary, is expressed in the books laid up in the temple.
Okay, so and that's why I say those book of Jasher, it can't be proven that book of Jasher that's out was in the temple. That can't be proven. And that's why that book of Jasher that people have at damn Barnes and Nobles, you can't prove that was in the temple. There could have been different books of Jasher out there. Okay? But that could have been an imitation. There's no way you can prove that was what was written back in the day.
Wasn't even translated.
That's my
I don't
point.
even read where it was translated.
And that's
No,
the
but
point.
it's supposed to be contradicting what the Bible says. Any book that contradicts what the scriptures say, we can't go off.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
not just a counter message or alternative narrative. It's when you read the rest of it, there's time periods and points and ideas that contradict what the Bible says. So if that's the case, then I can't accept it.
Exactly. It wouldn't be part of the temple if it was contradicting the scriptures.
Yeah, the Bible, you know, the Bible's correct because it all flows together. Most High repeats himself like a broken record all throughout the Bible. The prophecies repeat all throughout the Bible. So if something's contradicting the rest of the message of the Bible, and the problem is, do I hold to this one book and discard the Bible, or discard this book and keep the Bible? We know what the answer to that is.
Got it. Okay, so now we go back into the scriptures.
Verse 15.
I think it's 15.
Yeah, we had just finished 14.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Joshua chapter 10 and verse 15. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp to Gilgal.
They went back to their home base. Read on.
Verse 16. But these 5 kings fled and hid themselves in a cave at Makkedah.
It was over, right? It was over. Them 5 kings in Makkedah was still in the south region, and they were just hiding because their whole area was ransacked. Their 5 kingdoms were ransacked. Read on.
And it was told Joshua, saying, the 5 kings are found hid in a cave at Makkedah. And Joshua said, roll great stones upon the mouth of the cave, and set men by it for to keep them.
Lock them in, bro.
It's crazy, bro.
Lock them. It says you can make it warmer. No, look, seriously. Man, somebody is cold in this school. So you know what? It's all good. Like somebody look like it's like frosty. Is it? Is this all like it's the cave of Makadai? It's like damn, it ain't the cave of Makadai, is it? Is it that cold? Wow, it's that cold, man. The cave of Makadai in the sanctuary right now as we speak. It wasn't just the cover. It was like the short shuffle. It was the short shuffle. Like, man, people are freezing in here. God, my fault, man. It's that bad. Anyway.
It's still good in there.
I feel great in here. That's what I'm saying.
Just need a little heater back there, right? A little heater.
It's not gonna work, bro. Well, what's gonna happen when we get to new school? It's gonna be cold as hell in there too, man. It's gonna be chilly. Anyway, let's keep going.
Joshua chapter 10 and verse 19. And stay ye not, but pursue after your enemies, and smite the hindmost of them, the hindmost of them. Suffer them not to enter into their cities.
So what it's saying is, he said, listen, lock these cats here and pursue all the other runners. Because they ain't going nowhere once this damn cave is locked up. These kings ain't locked and they stuck.
All right.
Go get these other dudes so they don't hide in their cities. We want to keep these cities broken and defenseless.
What's the most I had that like their conversation translate to the thing they're talking about?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh
Shit.
it's over. We should have become servants.
Yeah, exactly. Gideon was right. Let's keep going.
Latter part. For the Most High your power have delivered them into your hand. Verse 20. And it came to pass when Joshua and the children of Israel had made an end of slaying them with a very great slaughter, till they were consumed, that the rest which remained of them entered into fenced cities. And all the people returned to the camp to Joshua at Makkedah in peace. None moved his tongue against any of the children of Israel.
Con.
Then said Joshua, open the mouth of the cave and bring out those 5 kings unto me out of the cave. And they did so, and brought forth those 5 kings unto him out of the cave. The king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, and the king of Eglon. Eglon. Verse 24. And it came to pass, when they brought out those kings unto Joshua, that Joshua called for all the men of Israel, and said unto the captains of the men of war which went with him, come near, put your feet upon the necks of these kings.
Man, it's over.
And they came near and put their feet upon the necks of them. And Joshua said unto them, fear not, nor be dismayed. Be strong and of good courage. For thus shall the heavenly Father do to all your enemies against whom ye fight.
That was important symbolism. He said, listen, man, he had all these kings. He said, man, listen, put your foot on these dudes' head. Let them listen, man. This is what he's going to do to all these kings that raise up against you. We've still got the north to deal with.
Right.
True.
So we're not done. We're not done. We got the north we got to take out. He going to give us the north like he gave us the south.
Right.
Read on.
Verse 26. And afterward Joshua smote them and slew them and hanged them on 5 trees, and they were hanging upon the trees until the evening.
Because the law says you weren't supposed to let a person hang until for longer than until sundown. Okay, so they hung them on trees for the whole world to see. We took your 5 top dogs in the south. Read on.
Verse 27. And it came to pass at the time of the going down of the sun that Joshua commanded, and they took them down off the trees and cast them into the cave wherein they had been hid, and laid great stones in the cave's mouth, which remain until this very day. And that day Joshua took Makkedah and smote it with the edge of the sword.
Makkedah was South Canaan. Okay, read on.
And the king thereof, he utterly destroyed them, and all the souls that were therein. He let none remain, and he did to the king of Makkedah as he did unto the king of Jericho. Then Joshua passed from Makkedah.
So what was happening? Why did he do that? Because all those fleeing warriors went to Makkedah. So he took out Makkedah like he took out Jericho. For what reason? To let everybody know, if you house these runaways, you dying too. I'm wiping you out even worse. Don't house these guys that are on the run. Read on.
Verse 29. Then Joshua passed from Makkedah, and all Israel with him, unto Libnah, and fought against Libnah. And the Most High delivered it also, and the king thereof, into the hand of Israel.
What verse you at, sir?
30.
Okay.
And he smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls that were therein. He let none remain in it, but did unto the king thereof as he did unto the king of Jericho.
So once again, what he's saying also was whether it's Makkedah, Libnah, Lachish, these were all the kingdoms of those kings that they took out. Okay, all those kings sat back here in front of them in Gibeon. Now they're going back to all these different lands and wiping these people out individually. Okay, read on.
Verse 31. And Joshua passed from Libnah, and all Israel with him, unto Lachish.
They went. Lachish was the next land that was a king that was in charge of that place that died. Read on.
And encamped against it, and fought against it. And the Lord delivered Lachish into the hand of Israel, which took it on the second day, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and all the souls that were therein, according to all that he had done to Libnah. Then Haram, king of Gezer, came up to help Lachish, and Joshua smote him and his people.
That was a mistake. I don't know why I get Haram from Gezer, because that was the guy up north that was closer to Gibeon, went to go assist. Made a bad decision. Read on.
Until he had left him none remaining. And from Lachish Joshua passed unto Eglon, and all Israel with him, and they encamped against it, and fought against it. 35. And they took it on that day, and smote it with the edge of the sword. And all the souls that were therein he utterly destroyed that day, according to all that he had done to Lachish. Verse 36. And Joshua went up from Eglon, and all Israel with him, unto Hebron.
Now that's further south. So once again, they were just going down from Gibeon, Jarmuth, Libya, Lachish, Eglon. They already went and did Makkedah, then Hebron. It's the whole south. Read on.
And they fought against it, and they took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining, according to what he had done to Eglon, but destroyed it utterly, and all the souls that were therein. Verse 38. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, to Debir.
Debir's next.
And fought against it. And he took it, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and they smote them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining, as he had done to Hebron.
Because he was doing what he was instructed. Read on.
So he did to Debir, and to the king thereof, as he had done also to Libnah, and to her king. Verse 40. So Joshua smote all the country of the hills, and of the south, and of the vale, and of the springs, and all their kings. He left none remaining, but utterly destroyed all that breathed, as the Heavenly Father power of Israel commanded.
He wiped out thousands, man. He wiped out thousands of these people. He said he let none breathe, none escape. They all had to go. Read on.
Verse 41. And Joshua smote them from Kadesh Barnea even unto Gaza, and all the country of Goshen, even unto Gibeon. And all these kings and their land did Joshua take at one time, because the heavenly Father power of Israel fought for Israel. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him, unto the camp of Gilgal.
Okay. So they even went to Gaza, which is further west, right? So after that, they sat back here, returned to their camp, and went unto Gilgal. Let me see. Do I want to go? No, I don't want to do that. Let me see. Okay, let's do what the next paragraph 18 in the Antiquities talks about is how they did to all these kingdoms, like they did in not Jordan, but when they burnt Jericho, they burnt all the horses and everything. They did that to all those kingdoms. They burnt the horses, killed the animals. They totally wiped out the existence of those people. Okay. Now let's go to paragraph 11. Stay ready. Back for the Josephus again. Okay.
Nagaha, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Shemaiwan, Ban Yasharala.
Nagaha, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Shemaiwan, Ban Yasharala. Amachim? Right? Yahweh Hashem Yashar Brakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Brakatah.
Okay, Joshua 11 chapter.
Joshua chapter 11, verse 1. And it came to pass, when Jabin, king of Hazor, had heard those things.
Now, Jabin is up north. King of Hazor is up north. It's near Upper Galilee. Okay? So they're up north. So Upper Galilee, you have the Upper Galilee, which is up north, and you have the hill country of Ephraim, which is where Gibeon, Ai, Gilgal, and Jericho was. And the south is the hill country. That's why we read earlier that Joshua smote the hill country. That's the south, and eventually that was where Judah and Simeon were located at. Okay, so now the group up top in Upper Galilee is going to hear there's this information about how the south is getting smoked. Okay, read on.
Of Hazor had heard those things, that he sent to Jobab, king of Madon, and to the and to the king of Shimron, and to the king of Akshaph.
So you see where all these little neighboring areas. If I had the map, all you had to do is there's a map on Google where it says area occupied by Israel after the conquest of Joshua. That's where you will look upon on the Google to kind of get a better understanding of what's going on. Because as you're reading as you're reading Joshua and a lot of these chapters, if you don't have map work lined up with what you're reading, it's very hard to kind of follow what's happening. So my advice is, online it says the area occupied by Israel after the conquest of Joshua, and it gives you a lot of information concerning all these little small kingdoms and how they huddled up and they tried to set up some kind of resistance to take out Israel. So all of these countries are in Upper Galilee, north of what just happened. All right. So it said Hazor, Madon, Shimron, Akshaph. Okay, read verse 2.
And to the kings that were on the north of the mountains and of the plains south of Chinnerah, and in the valley and in the borders of Dor on the west, and to the Canaanite on the east and on the west, and to the Amorite and the Hittite and the Perizzite and the Jebusite in the mountains.
Now, up north, we end up being more successful in conquering the majority of the north all the way to the west. Now, in the south, in all the south area we were talking about, we never finished off Philistia, which was towards the edge, towards the southwest portion of Israel. But up north in Upper Galilee, that whole area ended up getting conquered, and this is how it happened. Okay? So we were able to get the coast towards the north. We didn't get the coast towards the central and the south. We never finished that off. Continue. I'm sorry. Take your time.
And a Hittite, and a Perizzite, and a Jebusite in the mountains, and to the Hivite under Hermon in the land of Mizpah. Verse 4. And they went out, they had all their hosts with them, much people, even as the sand that is upon the seashore in multitude, with horses and chariots, very many. And when all these kings were met together, they came and pitched together at the waters of Merom to fight against Israel. And the Most High said unto Joshua, Be not afraid because of them, for tomorrow, about this time, will I deliver them up and all slain before Israel. Thou shalt hew their horses and burn their chariots with fire.
God.
So Joshua came, and all the people of war with him, against them by the waters of Merom suddenly, and they fell upon them. And the Most High delivered them into the hand of Israel, who smote them and chased them unto great Zidon, unto Misrapothma. Let me read that again. And unto Misrapothmaim.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a tough one. That's a handful.
Misrapothmaim. And unto the valley of Mizpah eastward. And they smote them until they left them none remaining.
So they sit back here and took them all the way up to Great Zidon. That was north. That was north beyond Galilee. Mm-hmm. And they took them west and east, and they wiped them out. So they took multiple kingdoms at that time also. Read on.
Verse 9. And Joshua did unto them as the Most High bade him. He hewed their horses and burnt their chariots with fire. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor and smote the king thereof with the sword. For Hazor before time was the head of all those kingdoms. And they smote all the souls that were therein with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was not any left to breathe, and he burnt Hazor with fire.
God, complete slaughter, read.
And all the cities of those kings, and all the kings of them, did Joshua take, and smote them with the edge of the sword.
So he didn't do like Saul did and just pick and choose. He kept the order the Most High gave him. And he stayed successful because he kept the order of the Most High. He kept the obedience to it. Real?
And he utterly destroyed them, as Moses, the servant of the Most High, commanded. But as for the cities that stood still in their strength, Israel burned none of them, save Hazor only. That did Joshua burn.
God.
And all the spoil of these cities and the cattle, the children of Israel took for a prey unto themselves. But every man they smote with the edge of the sword, until they had destroyed them, neither left they any to breathe.
Where is that? What verse we at?
Verse 14.
Okay.
Now we're at 15.
Okay. Read that.
Verse 15.
So that pretty much is explaining. Hazor was the king that instigated the unity of these northern group, and they all getting wiped out, right? Continue.
Verse 15. As the Most High commanded Moses, his servant, so did Moses command Joshua, and so did Joshua. He left nothing undone of all that the Most High commanded Moses. So Joshua took all that land, the hills, and all the south country, and all the land of Goshen, and the valley, and the plain, and the mountain of Israel, and the valley of the same, even from the Mount Halak that goeth up to Seir, even unto Baalgad in the valley of Lebanon, under Mount Hermon, and all their kings he took, and smote them, and slew them. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings.
Listen, they were warring for around 5 years, man. It was 5 years of fighting. It was exhausting. It was exhausting. This was not some easy scenario. To take that whole north out, on top of the south, starting from the time when they crossed over. Listen, they're saying the wars, it was 5 years of wars from Jericho on down. It took a lot of fighting. It was consistent attacking and fighting until they got situated.
They get used to that. They get used to their life. Their job is to fight.
Well, the problem was they were tired of it, and eventually that became part of the downfall. They wanted to stop fighting. They wanted to put their foot off the gas and take a break. And eventually, that became our downfall because they gave countries like the Philistines enough time to lick their wounds, regather, and become a thorn in our side for generations to come. But we're gonna read what's happening. It was like a perfect storm, because Joshua was getting older. Listen, hold that. Just hold that. Let's go read Antiquities of the Jews, paragraph 18 and part of 19.
Paragraph 18.
Yeah, paragraph 18 is book 5, chapter 1, paragraph 18. Book 5, chapter 1, paragraph 18.
Says, these kings which made war with and were ready to fight the Gibeonites, being thus overthrown.
So those were the people from the south. They got wiped out. Those 5 kings and all the adjoining nations got wiped out in the south. The south was secure. Read on.
Joshua returned again to the mountains parts of Canaan, and when he had made a great slaughter of the people there and took their prey, he came to the camp at Gilgal. And now there went a great fame. And now there went a great fame abroad among the neighboring people of the courage of the Hebrews. And those that heard what a number of men were destroyed and were greatly affrighted at it. So the kings that lived about Mount Libanus, who were Canaanites, and those Canaanites that dwelt in the plain country with auxiliaries of the land of the Philistines.
Auxiliaries out of the land of the Philistines. Read on.
Pitched their camp at Beroth, a city of the upper Galilee.
Upper Galilee is what we were talking about earlier. All the plains people and everybody up north had to gather up and make their final stand. Read on.
Not far from Kadesh, which is itself also a place in Galilee. Line 64. Now the number of the whole army was 300,000 armed footmen, and 10,000 horsemen, and 20,000 chariots, so that the multitude of the enemies affrighted both Joshua himself and the Israelites.
Listen, 300,000 men was a lot. When we talk about how every battle got greater and greater, every challenge got more difficult and more difficult, they needed that victory against the 5 kings in the south to have the courage and experience to go fight the next battle with the 300,000 plus armed men to take out north. What it's showing you, like we said also earlier, is that for each battle that you overcome in Christ, that victory is essential for you to get to the next battle that you have to overcome in Christ. And each battle that you overcome, it's greater and it's greater and it's more challenging and it's more difficult to break. Whether you're dealing with the wars of Israel or the wars in yourself, it's all the same concept. Okay? So read on.
Instead of being full of hopes of good success, were superstitiously timorous, with the great terror with which they were stricken. Line 65. Whereupon the Most High upbraided them with the fear they were in, and asked them whether they desired a greater help than he could afford them, and promised them that they should overcome their enemies, and withal charged them to make their enemies' horses useless, and to burn their chariots. So Joshua became full of courage upon these promises of the Heavenly Father.
He had to believe it though.
God.
A lot of times when Most High promises Israel things, He promises us things, He promises growth, we second guess the Most High. We disbelieve, we doubt.
Yep.
You can't go to battle and give your full, complete spirit if you're sitting here guessing and not believing, not trusting.
Yep. But you trust based upon your last successes. And you have to go back into how you were thinking, how did you roll for the Most High to honor you this last time. Use the same formula to overcome the next battle.
Exactly.
Okay? Let's keep going.
And went out suddenly against the enemies. Line 66. And after 5 days, march he came upon them.
Because it's further up, man. They were in Gilgal still. They had to march 5 days to get to Upper Galilee. Read on.
And joined battle with them, and there was a terrible fight. And such a number was slain as could not be believed by those that heard it. He also went on in the pursuit a great way, and destroyed the entire army of the enemies. Few only excepted, and all the kings fell in the battle. Insomuch that when there wanted men to be killed, Joshua slew their horses and burned their chariots, and passed all over their country without opposition, no one daring to meet him in battle. But he still went on, taking their cities by siege, and again killing whatever he took.
Joshua was phenomenal, bro. The amount of work he did to steal. You know what's crazy? Somebody got to do the damn dirty work for there to be peace.
Right.
Yep.
For everybody to have peace, you had to sit back and shed a lot of blood out for the next generation to have an easier life out.
The opportunity.
Because you know what's crazy? This next generation was chilling out. To get to this, it was bloodshed, death, killing, murder.
Overkill.
Not murder, it's killing.
Overkill going
Because
on.
murder is unjustified. Killing is justified when you're fighting for your nation. But that type of effort and dedication and that, you know what's crazy? It's the minds that you have to keep. You were mentioning earlier, the minds that you have to keep up. That attacking mindset. That I can't slow down.
Yep.
I can't take a break. Every day is life every minute is life or death. For 5 years it talks about in the next paragraph.
And then no PTSD.
None. Nope. Listen, this is dead bodies everywhere. This battle was 300,000 people that got murked out. The funny thing is, 300,000 people, that was the army. But once you take the army out, you got to still take out all the land and the people in there.
Yep.
He says none remain. So the army was 300,000. That's not mentioning all the little cities that were out there that had to get wiped out and burnt and killed too. They wiped this area clean. They eradicated like 3/4 of the damn Canaanite nation, huh? In 5 years.
Babies, newborn.
Babies, newborns, women, the whole damn nine, huh? They were getting mollywopped.
Dang.
But let's keep going, huh?
Paragraph 19, line 68. The 5th year was not passed.
Was now passed.
It says not over here, sir.
Okay, mine says now. Okay.
Okay. The 5th year was now passed, and there was not one of the Canaanites remained any longer.
All those Canaanites up north was gone. In the areas that they were fighting, there was no more Canaanite. Now there was Canaan on the outskirts of the coast. But in the areas they fought, they wiped them out. They completely eradicated their enemies. Read on.
Excepting some that had retired to places of great strength.
So what it's saying is this: the majority of the battle was over, but the rest of these Canaanites went to places that were fortified, even greater than the other places. So in order to accomplish the complete victory, it would have took more sacrifice, more dedication,
Yep.
more commitment to completely finish the battle. You know what it would have been? It would have probably took 5 more years of war.
Because too, and it's always that point in life when you finally get in Israelite life. There's a point in time where you get a grip of your battles.
You know what you get?
You kind of
Stability.
yeah.
Listen, what it's saying is after 5 years, we got stable.
Yeah.
But we weren't completely,
Done.
we didn't attain the victory. We were stable, but there was more dots
To connect.
I's to dot, T's to cross. There was more work to be done.
That's true.
Even though it was a great accomplishment to sit back here, 5 years was dedicated to the eradicating of giants
Yeah.
in a great kingdom.
Yep.
But there was still more work to do. Read on.
So Joshua removed his camp to the mountainous country.
To the mountainous
country, and placed the tabernacle in the city of Shiloh.
Mm-hmm. The city of Shiloh is in the middle, is in the central part. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you.
At the heart, right?
It's in the heart of Israel. Shiloh is right here. It's like above Gibeon. Oh, it is there.
Right there.
Shiloh's right there. It's in the middle of the hill country. That's why I said the mountainous area. In the hill, it's in the hill country of Ephraim. It's in the center. It's where they end up putting their camp because they hadn't divvied up the land yet. They just pulled them out of Gilgal, which was southeast, and brought it up to Shiloh, which was in the central part of Israel, of the land. Okay, continue.
For that seemed a fit place for it, because of the beauty of its situation, until such time as their affairs would permit them to build a temple. And from thence he went to Shechem, together with all the people, and raised an altar where Moses had beforehand directed. Then did he divide the army and place one half of them on the Mount Gizraim.
Mount Gizram is north of Shiloh. Read on.
And the other half on Mount Ebal.
Mount Ebal, I would imagine is south, but I cannot find it on the map. No, I'm sorry. No. Mount Ebal is to the right. So you had Shechem on the left, Ebal was on the right. They were both north of Shiloh. Mount Ebal to the right, Shechem's on the left. Okay, continue.
And on which mountain the altar was.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to show. You know what the truth is? You said Shechem and Mount Ebal, right?
Ebal,
yeah, right there.
But see, Ebal is right here.
Oh.
Ebal is right next to Shechem.
It's above Shiloh, though.
No, it's like right. They're both above Shiloh. One's on the left or the east, and one's on the west. It's right here. It's nothing. If you can see Shiloh on one of those maps on Google, it's to the east of Shiloh. It's directly east. It's where I don't know why they put them both in that spot. It doesn't make sense, but that's where it is.
I got a map right here.
You got a map? Oh, it's on there?
Yeah.
Just show the brothers. Let me make sure that because sometimes these maps they'll put locations different depending on the map. Ebal, yeah. See, this one only has Ebal. Oh, okay. It says, read it again. That part you had out. It was Gezram and Ebal, right?
Yeah. It says Moses had beforehand directed. Then he divided the army and placed one half of them on Mount Gizraim and the other half on Mount Ebal.
Okay, so this is slightly different because this map has it. Ebal is north and Gezraim is south on both ends of the mountain, and the other one has it east and west. Just know this much: Mount Ebal and Gezraim is near Shechem. That's a safe way to say both of those strongholds are above Shiloh, and it's near Shechem. That's where those mountainous ranges are. Read on.
On which mountain the altar was. He also placed there the tribe of Levi and the priests.
So this was temporarily the place of worship.
That's awesome.
At the time, it was Shiloh. Shiloh was the place, and Shechem was where the protection was. Okay? Read on.
Line 70. And when they had sacrificed and denounced the blessings and the curses.
If I'm not mistaken, this place was going to be there until Solomon put the temple together. If I'm not mistaken. But keep going. We'll find out if I'm wrong, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Read on.
And had left them engraven upon the altar, they returned to Shiloh. Says paragraph 20. And now
matter of fact, no. Read it from the middle. I want to make sure I got this right.
Okay. I can start from
so Joshua removed his camp. It's right after the first line, first sentence.
Joshua.
No, it's paragraph 19. Just read it from the top.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to make sure I got something right. Read that.
Okay, no problem. So Joshua removed his camp to the mountainous country and placed the tabernacle in the city of Shiloh.
The tabernacle. So that means all the items, the holy place and the Holy of Holies was in Shiloh. Read on.
For that seemed a fit place for it, because of the beauty of its situation, until such time as their affairs would permit them to build a temple. And from thence he went to Shechem, together with all the people, and raised an altar where Moses had beforehand directed.
Okay.
Then did he divide the army and place one half of them on Mount Gizraim and the other half on Mount Ebal.
So they put the altar there. Okay. I guess that's okay. They put the altar where Moses told them. Okay. And that was further north. All right. Read on.
On which mountain the altar was, he also placed there the tribe of Levi and the priests. And when they had sacrificed and denounced the blessings and the curses, and had left them engraven upon the altar, they returned to Shiloh.
What I'm trying to make sure is that where they made the sacrifices at? Was it in Shechem? In the tabernacles were in Shiloh? Or was it in Shiloh? I'm just asking myself because it's not always the most clearest. If the temple was in Shechem, where they did the sacrifices, and Shiloh was where everybody just kind of posted up until they started divvying up the land. Because very soon they start divvying up the land. Okay, we'll see. It'll answer itself. The question answers itself. Let's get back to the scriptures. And we were in Joshua 11.
18.
Okay, in 18.
Joshua chapter 11, verse 18. Joshua made war a long time with all those kings.
5 years of war it talked about in Josephus. Read on.
There was not a city that made peace with the children of Israel, save the Hivites, the inhabitants of Gibeon. All other they took in battle.
So the Gibeonites were our servants. Everybody else got murked completely, completely eradicated. Completely eradicated. The warriors and the people were eliminated. Read on.
Verse 20. For it was of the Most High to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle.
It sounds just like Egypt.
Moses.
Exactly. The only people that were humble enough was the Gibeonites. Read verse 20 again.
Verse 20. For it was the Most High to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might destroy them utterly, and that they may have no favor, but that he might destroy them, as the Most High commanded Moses.
Come. Read on.
And at that time came Joshua and cut off the Anakims from the mountains, from Hebron, from Debir, from At Anab.
All those locations were in the south. Those big ass giants that we were afraid of during the time of Moses. The Anakims.
All right.
Those
When we didn't want to
Anakims.
cross.
Exactly. We didn't want to touch them from the south. And eventually they had the courage one time to go towards the east in the mountains and get them, and they ran them off again. Remember after we were afraid to deal with the Anakims, and then Moses said, fine, you're not going to the kingdom. Then they wanted to go fight the Anakims.
Then they're ready to do it.
Then they were ready to do it. I was definitely.
He was around the time like most I was sending wasps.
No, well, he was softening them up already.
Murder hornets.
He was sending murder hornets already over that period of time. They were about to fall anyway. But Moses was like, listen, let's go get them now. They said, no, we're afraid. Because 11 or 10 of the 12 scouts said they can't do it. So then, when the Mosai told Moses, no, they're not going to the kingdom, then they get the courage to fight the Anakims.
Right.
Then they got their ass kicked. And Moses like, damn, now we got to scoot further away from these guys because they might try to come chase us and wipe us out. Point is, those same people that they were afraid were the ones they took out when they went down south. When they went south is when they took out the Anakims. And in Hebron, Debir, and Anab. These were all these southern areas that they took over. Giants. They were killing giants, man. Read on.
from all the mountains of Judah, and from all the mountains of Israel, Joshua destroyed them utterly with their cities.
When it says the mountains of Judah, because Judah eventually inhabited
area.
those locations in the south. Okay, read on.
Verse 22. There was none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel. Only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod there remained.
Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod was where the Philistines were. They were on the west coast. Remember I said on the south? They took the south and the southeast, but they didn't finish out the west.
Yeah.
They didn't finish out the coast. So the Philistines were always going to be a problem to Israel in the south. Judah, Benjamin was going to always be an issue for us in the south, because there was the west coast didn't get covered and handled and dealt with. Okay, read on.
Verse 23. So Joshua took the whole land according to all that the Most High said unto Moses. And Joshua gave it for an inheritance unto Israel according to their divisions by their tribes. And the land rested from war.
So the land rested from war. So at this particular point, now it's about, okay, let's sit back here and start dispersing where Israel goes to, where they allot themselves. Now chapter 12 is going to start talking about all the kings that got wiped out. So let's go, it's like 31 kings that got murked, and it's going to talk about all these kings real quick. So let's go run through chapter 12 real quick. Yeah, go for it.
Joshua chapter 12 verse 1. Now these are the kings of the land which the children of Israel smote, and possessed their land on the other side of Jordan, toward the rising of the sun, from the river Arnon unto Mount Hermon, and all the plain on the east.
Like I said, it's very important to have a map ready when you're reading this, because you can easily fall asleep and lose interest hearing some imaginary lands that are being talked about. But if you have a map, it kind of gives you a little more clarity and makes this information a little more enthusiastic, a little more fun to kind of tap into when you're matching land areas and cities with what they're talking about. Read on.
Verse 2. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon.
Now we're going back from the scriptures a lot of times go from the beginning to end. They're starting off with Sihon when Moses was still the captain and the leader of the people. Remember when right after we left the wilderness, the first king that we encountered was Sihon, and he automatically started war. We weren't even trying to fight. Don't forget, we weren't trying to get the east side of Galilee. We were just trying to get to the west.
You know what makes
And Sihon wanted to set trip.
You know what makes this good though?
Smoke.
Yeah, he wanted to smoke.
The good part about this is the reiteration of history, and it shows you have to have a remembrance or a memorial of all your spiritual victories in the truth and in life in general, because it's easier to dwell on the flaws, the negatives, and the losses and the bad times than it is to follow the good times.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to remember the bad times. So this is good to remember all the victories, because that keeps the courage, it keeps the spirit of confidence up, it keeps the morale up, so that when they get new challenges, we have something to fall back on. If I practice thinking about all the bad times, all the losses and the L's that happen in the truth and happen in my life, then when I get challenges, I can only fall back on doubt.
And I'm going to tell you this. What you're going to also see, if we haven't seen it yet, the best of our people come out during challenges. Now, we have two choices we can take in our life, and I hope everybody listens to this. In your life, you can either continue to create spiritual challenges so that the best of yourself can come out then, or you can wait until we fall and we'll see the best of us then. Because one way that was when you saw the best of Israel. We were completely collapsed.
Yep.
And we had to be potent. We had to be great.
Maccabees.
Or the entire book of Judges.
Yeah.
Over that 300-year span.
That's true.
When we failed. And then the best was to come out and rise to the top to overcome obstacles that we didn't have to be in the first place.
Yeah.
Or we continue to set greater challenges in ourselves while we're on top. The challenge is what brings the most out of a man. Is what keeps us alive. Is the next battle. And the thing is this, it's a weird dynamic because the battle is exhausting. The battle is draining. the battle is tiring, but without the battle, you die. Because as soon as we stop fighting after this 5 years of war, we start going downhill. We're not talking about physical battles. But when we stopped the fight, we started dying inside. We started diminishing. When we kept fighting, when we kept looking for the next great challenge, that inspired us to keep fighting. The fight keeps us going. And that's the fact. And we have to be comfortable with the mindset that we're still on. We have to look for the war. We can stay on top of ourselves. But if you look for the break, you look for the comfort, a little folding of the hands, things are going to start falling apart one way or the other.
True.
So, let's continue in Joshua, sir.
Joshua chapter 12, verse 2. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and ruled from Aroer, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon.
And that's going towards the east of Galilee. I mean, the east of Jordan. Read on.
And from the plain to the sea, Chinneroth on the east, and unto the sea of the plain, even a salt sea on the east. The way to Beth-Jeshimoth.
Perfect.
And from the south under Ashdoth Pisgah. And the coast of Og king of Bashan, which was of the remnant of the giants, and dwelt at Ashtaroth and at Edrei.
So after they took out Sihon, which was an easy fight, that was their first fight, and he was a coward. He ran quickly. Now they said Og was more of a challenge. He was a giant. We took Og out, and that was the greater landmass that was on the east side of Jordan. Read on.
Verse 5. And reigned in Mount Hermon, and in Salak, and in all Bashan, unto the border of the Geshurites, and the Maacathites, and half Gilead, the border of Sihon, king of Heshbon. Them did Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the children of Israel smite. And Moses, the servant of the Most High, gave it for a possession unto the Reubenites, and the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh.
There you go. It's important that we know these landmarks, because so as we go into the book of Judges, so forth and so on, we have a better grasp of who was in these lands and what tribes the Most High would choose men out of when we're talking about these land areas. Read on.
Verse 7. And these are the kings of the country which Joshua and the children of Israel smote on this side Jordan on the west, from Baal-gad in the valley of Lebanon, even unto the Mount Halak, that goeth up to Seir, which Joshua gave unto the tribes of Israel for a possession according to their divisions. Verse 8. In the mountains, and in the valleys, and in the plains, and in the springs, and in the wilderness, and in the south country, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The king of Jericho, 1. The king of Ai, which is beside Bethel, 1. The king of Jerusalem, 1. The king of Hebron, 1. The king of Jarmuth, 1. The king of Lachish, 1. The king of Eglon, 1. The king of Gezer, 1. The king of Debir, 1. The king of Gedera, 1. The king of Hordma, 1. The king of Arad, 1. The king of Libnah, 1. The king of Adullam, 1. The king of Mekkedah, 1. The king of Bethel, 1. The king of Tappuah, 1. The king of Hepher, 1. The king of Aphek, 1. The king of Lasharon, 1. The king of Madon, 1. The king of Hazor, 1.
Now we're going north. Read on.
The king of Shimron-Meron, 1. The king of Akshaph, 1. The king of Tanakh, 1. The king of Megiddo, 1. The king of Kadesh, 1. The king of Jokneam of Carmel, 1. The king of Dor, in the coast of Dor, 1. The king of the nations of Gilgal, 1. The king of Tirzah, 1. All the kings 30 and
1.
Once you got up to Hazar, they were able to take all of the west. Listen, the sounds were awesome. 'Cause your tone started changing into a Middle Eastern type of. It was like
You gotta roll some of this shit.
the sounds sound like exactly the sounds. It was like you was literally like
He was there.
in the country for a while.
I couldn't thug that.
I got it kind of with those sounds. It sounded like you were in the Middle East. For real. That was phenomenal.
That's hilarious.
That took skill. That took skill.
That's funny.
But anyway, let's do this. Let's go to chapter 13.
Joshua chapter 13, verse 1. Now Joshua was
About that
old
time, sir.
and stricken in years. And the Most High said unto them, Thou art old and stricken in years, and there remaineth yet very much land to be possessed.
Listen.
We all get to this point where we're going to be old.
We're going to be old, and you know the truth is somebody else needed to step up. And then this is the challenge that we always have before. This is what killed Israel from the beginning. There was one guy that pushed, another guy took it slow. Another guy pushed, another person didn't keep on that momentum. All that we had to do was to get the next man, the next generation of warriors to push forward and get the job done. That's what was needed. The scripture, Mosiah said there was very much land to be possessed. There was more work to do. But Joshua took them as far as he can take them. He died at 110 years old. He wasn't much younger than Moses. What's crazy is we're going to read in Josephus about how Caleb was one of the ones that was instrumental in taking them Anakims out. Right? He was going bananas killing Anakims. Right? And he was in the hundreds. He was in the hundreds too. It was him and Joshua going up there, the only ones preserved.
Was I preserved?
He preserved them, huh? Man. Point is that it was somebody else's job to take the mantle and make it better and do more, or to do as much as they could. Everybody in Israel knew there was more land to be possessed. If you look at these old maps, there was still a lot of yellow that wasn't covered. There was pink that was ours, there was a lot of yellow that wasn't finished. Anyway, and it took 5 years to do what we did, but we would have needed probably that same time to finish up the job.
But the problem is, those 5 years are gonna pass by anyway.
Yeah.
The 5 years that something could have gotten done, we could have ate the fruit of our labor, it was gonna pass anyway. So I could have rested, chill, relaxed, till I fill up the gas. When those 5 years are up, I'm still in a situation.
Or I got a better one for you. Everything you said was right. But can one person be a sacrifice so the next generation don't got to worry about this no more? Because in order to get this accomplished, that group that fought for 5 years would have had to fought for longer periods of time, and that means they wouldn't have been able to enjoy their life.
The families have to sacrifice too.
That's the point. The whole families, that generation of families would have had to be a sacrifice so that all the other kids afterwards and all the other families wouldn't have to deal with this shit no more.
Forfeiture.
That's the key. Joshua couldn't do it anymore. But who's going to sit back here and have all of, you know what's crazy? This is the challenge that I have seen. I'm going to keep it at leadership. Because I've seen this since the early 90s. And I heard stories of it before the early 90s. And I've always heard stories about the same thing. When Israel and whatever we put our hands to started prospering, a lot of times we would sit back here and enjoy the prosperity and not continue to perfect the work going forward. And we end up making it about the work that we did to get to this point versus making the system and the work prosperous down the line so that multiple generations could enjoy it. It's one thing that you do some things and listen, this isn't for everybody. So this is not, I would say this is for us who, even for families and households. This is something that we got to be conscious of. Do you sit back here and set your home up for immediate gratification and stability? Or do you sit back here and sacrifice so that your children after you can have? That is something that has to be, that was considered back in the day. And the funny thing is this, I looked at even like I don't even want to go into it too much, but do you want to, and this is simply a choice, do you want to build enough to sustain your family now, or do you want to build enough to sustain not just your family but other generations down the line, is the question. And what's more important, this generation that sat back here and put the 5 years of war decided that we should just stop and make it about what we got, versus making sure that the families had posterity and strength for multiple generations. I think that's something all of us need to be conscious of. And even when we're putting a home together or a camp together, I think that's the thinking that we should have moving forward. Now the crazy thing is this, that mindset is what we need to keep us pushing to constantly create more goals. What else can I do after we get to school?
That's the point.
Then what?
The
The question is, what do you do after the school is built?
Yep.
Do you sit back here and push to build another school? Or do you push to sit back here and just stabilize this? What other systems do you put into play to ensure posterity down the line?
I gotta pull the scripture right here.
Yes, sir.
Proverbs 13 verse 22. Proverbs 13 verse 22. Because I think the scripture gets misunderstood and misinterpreted. And this set of circumstances pulls out and validates the understanding of the scripture.
Proverbs 13?
Yeah, 13 verse 22.
Proverbs 13, verse 22.
Uh-huh.
A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children.
We think, because we're in America, that the inheritance is, okay, if I make a lot of money, I stack a lot of bread, or I get a lot of properties, I have something to pass down to my great-great-grandchildren, or my great-grandchildren, which is a good idea. It's still a good idea to live frugal and to make sure you establish them for your children. I respect the concept. But what this is talking about, from Israel, is you've led a legacy that your children can pull from your legacy, and your children can pull from your spiritual victories, and your children can pull, most importantly, from your strong habits. Because the habits that you laid down that were successful, they can pull from those same routines, those same habits.
And I'm going to tell you this. You're right on both ends. Because, listen, if we as men can sit back here and set up a financial system that benefits generation down the line, it should.
Yep.
You should do that for your home, and you should do it for the camp. The problem is, we stop thinking about different ways to progress the work.
Yep.
If we're going to talk about leadership from back in the day, I'm talking about from the 90s and the 80s and down to way, way back. Because the truth is this, we have responsibilities as men in this book to meditate and think about what men did in the past, not to knock them, but to sit back and see what they did right, what they could have did better, and make things better.
And learn.
Because it's not about, because a lot of times brothers want to sit back and talk about the elders back in the day. I look at Israel as we're constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Israel's constantly evolving. Our methodology is constantly evolving. Can we be open-minded enough to clearly see where men were at, maintain all the ethics that worked right, and then the things where men were short-sighted at, can you create a better vision so that this system can run in perpetuity so the next generation can come in and perfect what you did? This is still about improvement. Once we're gone, can the next generation do it better than us?
Can they replicate?
And or can they replicate one, and then can they be better?
And not start from scratch.
That's the point. That's what keeps killing us.
Because look, Jake and the world.
We keep starting from
Israel,
scratch.
It's both. It's Jake
I
and
know.
Israel. Because we want to say we're so much better than Jake. But if you think about how we create things and how we
roll like just like Jake.
We function with the same temporary thinking
Yes.
as Jake. We put band-aids on bleeding wounds.
Con.
We don't
This
have
is a,
longer
this is a
vision.
real issue amongst our people. It really is. Well, people, Jake want to talk to generational wealth. Okay, let's create generational systems and ways that we can develop Israel that can sustain, that are tried and true, and we can build men down the line.
And it forces us to have to educate our children.
And it forces, what forces first to bust our ass and be uncomfortable to figure out ways that can work universally.
Yeah.
That can work from city to city, location to location, generation to generation.
Yeah.
Well, even when we talk about oils.
Yeah.
Oil should have been the start,
Yeah. Stepping stone.
not the end.
Yep.
It shouldn't have been the end all be all. We've been selling oils since the damn 80s. Were we ever going to get past selling oil exclusively?
Exclusively.
That's the
But
problem.
people say it's not broke. Don't fix it.
Because it's hard. Because you know what? It's hard as shit to create something else new, and to have faith and build and sacrifice and commit and do other things. But you know what? In order for the system to keep evolving, we have to keep evolving.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I knew when oil wasn't working, when you would have the fear of if a new man comes in, can you sustain him?
Yeah.
And in my mind, okay, if you're afraid to sustain this person, or you have a fear of sustaining this person, that means I have more work to do.
Yep.
And I have to look for other angles to sustain new fruit.
But
It doesn't mean
but
that the lessons I learned, and I still sell to this day.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that was wrong. It means
It wasn't.
add on top of the foundation. That's what the Bible says.
Yep.
There's a righteous man or a wise man. He hears a proverb and he does what? He adds unto. I'm supposed to add on top of what was built.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what the crazy thing is,
Yeah.
while I'm adding on top, it doesn't change the fact that it's still hard work.
Yep.
It's still selflessness. It's still dedication. It's still an all-in mindset in order to get it done.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, if we do it right and we sacrifice hard enough, we can create systems that inspire men to think outside of the box.
Come.
But thinking outside of the box under the premise of the unity,
Yeah.
brotherhood, sacrifice, dedication. That's what it takes to leave something for the next generation to use and
means,
build off of.
And that means I'm still going to be subject to people feeding off me. That's the problem with the idea.
What's
You
that?
think about furthering the idea, who's going to do it? Who's going to be the person to further it?
Well, it has to be.
It has to be the top.
I know.
It can't be the brand new guy coming out off the streets, huh?
I know that.
And stop smoking cigarettes 3 months
Well,
ago.
that's why it goes back to the premise of: are we going to stop in this land, or are we going to push all the way to the edge to Ashdod and Gaza and Philistia?
Yeah.
Am I going to keep pushing until I can't push no more, or am I going to just rest off of a system that works and be comfortable until it falls? That's the mindset.
And this is not just now. This has been throughout the Bible.
This is the Bible. This is at home. This is the whole nine.
Yeah.
What type of, can we continue to create new ventures, new arenas, new challenges, and new goals
And address them spiritually.
to keep everybody pushing and keep everybody active and to keep everybody in the spirit of fighting? Because just like with water, when water stops moving, it starts to get what? Stagnant and die.
True.
No different than our spirit.
Breeds bacteria.
Exactly. So when we sit back here and stop pushing ourselves, we start to die. That's the point.
Now the things that feed off of it get attracted to it.
Exactly. Negativity.
And then
Sickness.
And then the problem with that is, let's say we take the opposite stance, right? Now, when you start pushing other ventures, other ideals, or you push other, let's try to go this way, it creates division too, because there's a party that wants to stay one certain way, as a party that wants to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is it creates division. We all have to be on board the same. We have to all be on board that we have the same common interests.
Okay.
Everybody has to eat. Everybody has to have family sustained.
And you know what's
Everybody has to
crazy?
grow.
Listen, it's no different. It's no different than it was with, you talk about anybody building anything. I always think about like Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
And the frontier times out. When people were going to these frontier lands, the handful of people that was with Lewis and Clark had to do everything by themselves.
Yeah.
But eventually, once cities were settled,
Established.
they were able to specialize and expand out and create a city.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do as a nation also. We have to expand out and build a city of people who are specialized with different talents. So we can empower different people to expand out what we're doing, so we don't just have one system, one or two systems. Diversity is important in all things.
Exactly.
But that's part of growth. And can we keep working and being the sacrifice to keep opening and expanding processes that can benefit the body down the line
So we can diversify and have stability as a camp
and as a
as a
nation?
nation.
But it takes work and dedication to accomplish that. It takes real loss. Who's going to sit back here and push it? They can't push no more like Joshua did. Somebody has to be the living sacrifice so others can benefit and find confidence in this work. Continuing in Joshua 13.
Want to read from the top?
Yes, from the top, sir.
Joshua chapter 13, verse 1.
Yeah.
Now Joshua was old and stricken in years, and the Most High said unto him, Thou art old and stricken in years, and there remaineth yet very much land to be possessed. This is the land that yet remaineth, all the borders of the Philistines, and all Geshuri, from Sihor, which is before Egypt, even unto the borders of Ekron northward, which is counted to the Canaanite 5 lords of the Philistines,
Yeah.
the Gazaites, and the Ashdaites, and the Ashkelonites.
I had to say this, man. You know what it also shows too? It shows there's always a layer of something that you're not addressing. I always have this.
That is so important, because that's the point. And with
Yeah.
all the good that you do,
Yeah.
can you be conscious of the fact that there's more to do?
That's a fear that keeps me going.
You have to have that fear.
Yeah.
You have to have a fear that, bro, you're doing good, but what are you on the lookout at? What do you got to work on yourself in to stay on top of yourself? People might think it's extreme, but how else do you stay spiritually consistent and strong unless you operate with the mindset there's more things to deal with, there's more things to be cautious of, there's more things to look after?
Can I post
Yes,
it
sir,
right?
please do.
Proverbs 14 and verse 16. Proverbs 14 and verse 16.
Proverbs 14, verse 16.
And this scripture shows this ideal. Read.
A wise man feareth.
A
Yep.
wise
There you
man, an intelligent, wise, spiritual man is going to see here, I see prosperity.
Fear doesn't mean I'm afraid to do something.
No.
I'm afraid to fight a battle. A wise man fearing, I'm always looking at where are the holes in our processes.
Exactly.
Where are the holes? Where are the issues? Where is the need? Where is the need? Where do I have to fill a need at?
Calm.
And can I maintain the mindset that I have to fill a need? That things are, where is the deterioration at?
There you go.
You ever see a person who's a good homeowner? They're staying on top of the pipes.
Yep.
They put those pellets in the AC unit.
They're smart.
You ever seen those
Smart
guys that put the pellets in the AC unit?
Yeah.
Those Edomites that go to the damn AC.
Home Depot?
The Home Depot, they get I always put the pellets. Because if you don't put them pellets in your AC unit, guess what happens? That AC unit starts to muck up and starts to drip. There's always a problem. Or who sits back here and gets the AC unit cleaned out every year?
I don't.
In the wintertime. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do a winter cleaning and a summer cleaning.
I was having an ice shop there in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And we did some jobs, and we went on one job. It was a Israelite crib.
Okay.
Man, I don't that filter. It was.
Niggas don't change filters out either. That's the very basics. Niggas don't change our filters.
It was on the roof. That's why.
Oh, word.
It was on the roof, and they weren't going up there. They weren't going up. They literally said they ain't going up there.
How many stories? Albuquerque has like one story, Chris. I don't even have a whole lot of two
It
stories.
was like one story.
That's what I'm saying.
No. It was two stories.
Okay, I ain't going on my shit. I'm not going on my shit either. That's too damn high.
It was like that thing had been changed.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know how Issachar does that shit. Because they're the ones who do the roof things, and they go on. They use those cushiony, like they're like square, like foamy things out, and they sit on the foam out. I don't know if you ever seen roofers. They have this like foam little. It's like a pillow. You ever seen those foam pillows? Mm-hmm. They use foam pillows to sit on the pillows while they're doing their work. And I'm like, hell no, because the foam pillow doesn't slide. It sticks you there.
And it's cushion for your knees.
It's cushion for your knees, but you know what? The angles of those roofs are hellacious, You see back on the corner doing all this shimmying around. I'm like, hell no.
I was doing that.
Yeah.
I was doing that in LA. And we did a barrel roof, my first roof.
Oh my God.
I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm scared to fall.
That means you're afraid of heights. Because that's why niggas don't go on roofs. They don't want to fall. The problem is going down.
I had to carry those 80-pound
bro.
things up the ladder, bro.
You had that shit out. You had that shit out.
It's hard.
Jude's not doing that. Jude's not
doing it. Like, they're all, it's a whole
it's a process.
They're even doing that like Chicago and New York, like they're cleaning the windows.
Yeah.
And they'll see them like up there just hanging up there.
I automatically made excuses because I was like, man, these guys 115 pounds. You can't do that shit with twos. I make excuses because when they were doing my roof, I was like, shit. When you 100 out, you can do that shit when you 100 out. 115. You can't do that shit when you pushing 200 pounds. I can't do that shit. That's me making an excuse. I'm telling you, I was making an excuse. I was like, no, that's a weight thing. You can't be at 200 I can do that shit. You gonna fall. It ain't gonna work out. It's about being fearless.
Come on.
It's all straight. Listen, I want to make sure we go back to the point. And the point is that a wise man that fears looks for the holes. I brought about those little droplets for the AC unit. Because if you don't put that in there, your unit gets clogged up. It ends up costing you thousands down the line. If you don't sit back here and do the basic maintenance on your roof, you don't do basic maintenance with your what do you call it, the hot water heater. If you don't maintenance your hot water heater, you're in trouble. Because listen, I tell you what, that San Antonio has hard water.
Yep.
And I said, you get that crusty stuff on this high, bro. The unit might be this big, the crust stuff's this high. Shamshawan literally took out all the crust out of something like this individually. I said, I would have threw that shit away. There's no way I'm going to war with this much crust, and it comes out a little piece at a time.
Scooping it out.
I tried to sit back and get one of those suction things going there. They don't make mechanisms to suck it out small enough to enter the thing. But I'm talking home improvement crap. What am I saying? If you don't maintenance your house, you look up and the house falls apart. It really does. But that premise of maintaining your house and paying attention to the little things, like fixing the sink, taking out the disposal, that stuff really matters. And look at it ends up costing you so much money down the line if you don't take care of the little things every day. But you have to be looking for the little things. Most people are reactionary, and as problems come up, they deal with the problems as they come. Yeah. There's very little foresight, and most of we don't look at, okay, where can I improve this? How can I fix this? How can I avert this dangerous situation? We don't think on those lines, and that's how we get stung. But the wise person fears. The wise man looks, okay, listen, this system is working now, but we better work on something now while it's working, versus riding this process out until the wheels fall out and people are affected.
And brothers say, "What is have faith?"
No. That's where you don't have the
faith. Is you're doing your job and you're preparing.
When you're doing everything you can, then you got to wait. And that's the point.
It's not. I'm gonna be unprepared and then say, "What is I have faith that's gonna work out?"
No,
that's not cool, bro.
That's not cool.
It's not cool. It's not good planning.
But most people, though, I'm gonna let you pull the verse. Most people don't want to operate in that spirit of fear. It takes a wise man to operate in the spirit of caution all the time.
Healthy fear.
Not because most people just want to relax and just get away from the stress. To think about what might fall, what might not be good enough, is a stressful way of living.
And we live like that for a minute because you know what? We always have the spirit of the sky is falling.
No.
I feel like the sky was falling for a minute.
The sky was falling. Because the sky was falling.
Yeah, I know.
No. I'm not trying to. There's a difference between the sky actually falling and the sky's not falling. But you have to act like the sky's falling so you can create diversity.
That's a different
So the
mindset.
sky's not falling. I just want you to disguise.
Yeah.
You felt the sky was falling because the sky was falling.
Come.
I'm saying create stability, but then still operate like the sky is falling so we can keep creating better systems
Come.
so that we can continue to fortify what we're establishing in the first place.
Come.
That's the mindset you have to have so that families and groups can be sustained for longer periods of time and the system can be turnkey, so to speak.
Exactly.
Anyway, so everybody understand what I'm saying?
Come.
Okay, keep going what you're saying. Oh, yeah.
So a wise man feareth, you know?
And departed from evil.
And the departing from evil is I'm looking for the holes. And I'm looking for the issues. There's a little what? Creature in there?
No, he's in.
Oh, I thought that was a creature.
Yeah, I didn't want it. He's small.
We had creatures pop up in class and get the scriptures too. Yeah. So the point is, departing from evil is I'm looking for scenarios that can be a future issue and can affect our growth. This right here, long term, if this doesn't get fixed, this will affect our growth. If long term this doesn't get fixed, this will affect what we're trying to build down the line. And now we're in a situation. Because all of a sudden you don't see. So we're supposed to be shepherds, and we're supposed to be practicing not only observing what's in front of us, but observing what we don't see down the line. Right? So a wise man fears and he departs from evil. The second part says what?
But the fool rageth.
But the fool does what?
Rageth.
The fool who's a temporary thinker, right? Just focus on today, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just do it. Just do the same thing that's been always done, which I don't have a problem with repeating history. I don't have a problem with that. But the rage in the 1828 means rage. Verse 5, extreme eagerness or passion directed at some object. So fools just focus on some object in their personal life that they're looking for. I'm not looking at the object the camp needs. I'm sitting here, I'm going to just go through the motions, and then I'm going to pursue my own personal pursuits. And through the pursuit of personal pursuits, the building still decays. The camp decays, but I am fulfilled by my personal pursuits. You get the idea? The shepherd's number one premise is to be, if I'm a father, my focus is on my household. It can't be my personal pursuits.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a shepherd in the camp, yes, you have to have a personal life somewhat, but the majority of your focus can't be on. Well, I mean,
I'm with you. I know you're right. You're right. You gotta be a dad, man.
You gotta have something, right?
Yeah.
But your focus can't
and
be.
a husband too, I guess.
I'm
being.
It has to be. Yeah, I get you. What I'm saying is, it can't strictly be. I'm focusing on I'm raging towards my personal pursuits and my happiness, and I'm forgetting what we need as a body or as a family. You get the idea? Read on.
But the fool rageth and is confident.
I'm confident if I do the same thing I've been doing, it's going to always be okay. Now let me go focus on me. I look up and time will go by, and what will happen? We'll be in a deficit. We'll be in a hole. Read on the actual breakdown of Joshua.
Okay. Joshua chapter 13, the end of verse 3.
Thank you.
The Gittites and the Ekronites, also the Avites. Verse 4. From the south, all the land of Canaanites, all the land of the Canaanites, and Mearah, that is beside the Sidonians, Sidonians, unto Aphek, to the borders of the Amorites. Verse 5. And the land of the Giblites, and all Lebanon toward the sun rising, from Baal Gad, under Mount Hermon, unto the entering into Hamath. Verse 6. All the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon unto Mizrephoth-maim, and all the Sidonians, them will I drive out from before the children of Israel.
So it's not clean enough. I have to keep cleaning my house. I have to keep cleaning my land.
There is an obvious need that's presented right to us that we have to sit back and face. But the head that was there just didn't have it in the tank. He was too old. A new man had to rise. Read on.
Only divide thou it by lot unto the Israelites for an inheritance, as I have commanded thee. Now therefore divide this land for an inheritance unto the 9 tribes and a half tribe of Manasseh, with whom the Reubenites and the Gadites have received their inheritance, which Moses gave them beyond Jordan eastward, even as Moses, the servant of the Most High, gave them.
So what it's saying is, I don't mean to cut you off. What verse
8?
No, 6. What 6 is talking about is he was still, the Most High was still trying to tell us to divide the lots of these lands that we hadn't completely occupied, to be honest. Because in one of these maps, it talks about like the land of Ashdod, Ascalon, Gaza. All these spots were supposed to be given to Judah. No. We'll get it. My point is, these lands were still divided and split as if they were already occupied by us, but they weren't. Okay? Let's read verse 5 and 6 again.
Joshua chapter 13, verse 5. And the land of the Gibeonites and all Lebanon toward the sun rising from Baal Gad under Mount Hermon unto the entering into Hamath. All the inhabitants of the hill country from Lebanon unto Mizraphoth Maim, and all the Sidonians, them will I drive out from before the children of Israel. Only divide thou it by lot unto the Israelites for an inheritance.
So he's saying the Most High was going to take out all of these coastal countries. Because the coastal countries were the ones that weren't completely conquered yet, but he said he would conquer them. But he says divide it out as part of Israel's inheritance. So as Joshua starts to establish who gets to go into the certain lands, these lands are also part of what's going to be accompanied with it. Meaning these lands of the Philistines in Ashdod, Gaza, and all these places in Tyre and Zidon, they're supposed to go to our people, even though we hadn't conquered them yet. Just keep that in mind.
Can I pull the scripture right here?
What's that?
This is very close to what Abraham did in Romans 4 and 17. And it's the same repetition of ritual.
Romans chapter 4, verse 17.
Yeah, Romans chapter 4 and verse 17. We're going into the dividing of the lands of the different tribes, but we didn't have the population to occupy those lands.
And we didn't fight them. Listen, he gave it to us, and we hadn't even finished it up yet.
Come.
Continue.
As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations. Before him whom he believed.
So he practiced faith. Read on.
Even the Most High, who quickened the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were.
Calling those things which be not as though they were.
Mm-hmm.
That's still that planning mindset. Cool. You're going to walk this whole landmass, and you're going to sit here and have all your children occupy this land. He didn't see his children occupy that land.
Nope.
He didn't create that populace, but the Most High fulfilled his promise.
Yep. And what he's saying is, when Joshua starts to put this scenario, it doesn't make sense to double swipe out who gets what. Meaning, they're going to set this space up now, once and for all. They're not going to just sit back here and cover the area that's occupied by our people, and not deal with this space also. So we're going to start mapping out what nation gets what tribe gets what now, even the areas that are right now occupied by the Philistines and these Canaanites and these people from Tyre and Zidon. That's what's happening. Okay.
And it shows strong confidence in the Most High.
If we just fulfilled the damn thing.
He brought us this far. This is already taken care of. All I have to do is do my part of the covenant.
Listen, we got 5 years of war, and let's finish it up. Mm-hmm.
Let me let that go, brother.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go back in the scriptures now, sir. The water. I just want to make sure we're understanding that these lands were given to us, even though we hadn't overcome them yet. So let's get verse 7.
Verse 7, Joshua chapter 13, verse 7. Now therefore divide this land for an inheritance unto the 9 tribes and the half tribe of Manasseh, with whom the Reubenites and the Gadites have received their inheritance, which Moses gave them, beyond Jordan, eastward, even as Moses, the servant of the Most High, gave them, from Aroer, that is upon the bank of the river of Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, and all the plain of Medeba, unto Dibon, and all the cities of Sihon, king of the Amorites, which reigned in Heshbon, unto the border of the children of Ammon. Verse 11. All Gilead, and the border of the Geshurites, and the Maacathites, and all Mount Hermon, and all Bashan, unto Salcah. All the kingdom of Og in Bashan, which reigned in Ashtaroth, and in Edrei, who remained of the remnant of the giants, for these did Moses smite and cast them out.
I gotta say one thing too. It shows that all this was accomplished with our God, the God of Israel. Our power helped us accomplish this. It didn't make sense to convert to the gods of the nations when the Most High defeated those nations.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Reuben, Gad, and half tribe of Manasseh gets obviously East Gilead and portions north.
Yeah.
They got the north portions. Read on.
Verse 13. Nevertheless, the children of Israel expelled not the Geshurites, nor the Maacathites, but the Geshurites and the Maacathites dwell among the Israelites until this day.
And this is the craziness. All these tribes still didn't get expelled. All these tribes in the west didn't get expelled, and this is what partially brought down the kingdom and got them into the idolatry. So they were living with us. He says they didn't expel the Geshurites, the Maccathites, but the Geshurites and the Maccathites dwell amongst the Israelites this day. Like we said, all these borders were created, but we never finished the fight.
It's because Joshua was old?
Yeah, and it was time for somebody else. Don't forget, hear me out. They're explaining down the line what ends up happening. But because he couldn't fight, they still had to establish the land areas that was supposed to be to us. It was up to us, or the next leader, to sit back here and eradicate the rest of these nations westward, because it was the western borders that we never overcame, and we were intermingled and mixed with them. Okay, so we were always susceptible to attacks, battles, fights, infighting, and their negative influence. Continue.
Verse 14. Only unto the tribe of Levi he gave none inheritance. The sacrifices of the Most High, power of Israel, made by fire, are their inheritance, as he said unto them. And Moses gave unto the tribe of the children of Reuben inheritance according to their families. And their coast was from Aroer, that is on the bank of the river of Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, in all the plain of Medeba.
Okay.
Heshbon, and all her cities that are in the plain, Dibon, and Bamath Baal, and Bethmal Meon, and Jahaza, and Kedemoth, and Mapha'ah, and Kirjath Aim, and Sibmah, and Zeresh Shahar, in the mount of the valley.
You are the reader for these land masses and weird names. So get your tongue ready for Kings, because Kings gets crazy too. And Chronicles. Get ready, bro. But continue, man.
Verse 20. And Beth Peor, and Ashdoth Pisgah, and Beth Jeshimoth, and all the cities of the plain, and all the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amorites, which reigned in Heshbon, whom Moses smote with the princes of Midian, Evi, and Rekem, and Zur, and Hur, and Reba, which were dukes of Sihon, dwelling in the country. Balaam, also the son of Beor, the soothsayer, did the children of Israel slay with the sword among them that were slain by them. Verse 23. And the border of the children of Reuben was Jordan,
Yep.
and the border thereof.
So Reuben was on the east side of Jordan, east on the southeast of Jordan. Okay, they took the land that Sihon had. That's what they had. Okay, just so we know what's up. And Reuben was bordering Moab, and that was where Sihon once had. Okay, and then Gad and Manasseh took the north, where Og had. Okay, so let's continue.
This was the inheritance of the children of Reuben, after their families, the cities and the villages thereof. And Moses gave inheritance unto the tribe of Gad, even unto the children of Gad, according to their families. And their coast was Jazer, and all the cities of Gilead, and half the land of the children of Ammon, unto Aroer, that is before Rabbah. And from Heshbon unto Ramoth Mizpeh, and Betonim, and from Mahanaim unto the border of Debir. And in the valley of Beth Aram, and Beth Nimrah, and Succoth, and Zaphon, the rest of the kingdom of Sihon, king of Heshbon, Jordan, and his borders, even unto the edge of the sea of Chinnereth, on the other side Jordan eastward. This is the inheritance of the children of Gad after their families, the cities and their villages. And Moses gave inheritance unto the half tribe of Manasseh, and this was the possession of the half tribe of the children of Manasseh by their families. And their coast was from Mahanaim, all Bashan, all the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, and all the towns of Jair, which are in Bashan, 80 cities. And half Gilead, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan, were pertaining unto the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, even to one half of the children of Machir by their families. These are the countries which Moses did distribute for inheritance in the plains of Moab, on the other side Jordan, by Jericho eastward. But unto the tribe of Levi Moses gave not any inheritance. The Lord power of Israel was their inheritance, as he said unto them.
Okay, so we got that down. Let's go to Antiquities of the Jews. Tasabah, if you can read this with us. Antiquities of the Jews, book 5, chapter 1, paragraph 20. Sledgehammer.
Tasapah, Shal Shabbatah, Rahaban, Ban Yasha'Allah.
Tasabah, Shal Shabbatah, Baharaban, Ban Yasha'Allah. Amajim, Rock, Yahweh Hashem Yashabakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yashabakatham.
And next time, hey, let us just take it, because you're on camera. We'll get it to you. Just ask us and we'll get it to you.
Where are we at again?
We're in Antiquities of the Jews, book 5, chapter 1, paragraph 20. Is this where it is? Yep, this is it.
And now Joshua was old, and saw that the cities of the Canaanites were not easy to be taken, not only because they were situate in such strong places, but because of the strength of the walls themselves, which being built round about, the natural strength of the places of which the city stood, seeing capable of repelling their enemies from besieging them, and of making those enemies despair of taking them.
So listen, the next phase of the fight was going to be brutal. They had natural borders. Obviously, I would imagine the mountains and the actual coverings of the location that was ready to fall. But it was hard to break. It was hard to break, but we could have took it if we would have fought. But it looked like it was even harder than the kingdoms that we took over. Okay? What it's saying is it would have been a long undertaking if we were going to sit back and accomplish it. Read on.
72. For when the Canaanites had learned that the Israelites came out of Egypt in order to destroy them, they were busy at that time in making their city strong. So he gathered the people together to a congregation at Shiloh.
And we talked about that earlier. Shiloh was an essential part of their land. Read on.
And when they, with great zeal and haste, were come thither, he observed to them what prosperous successions they had already had, and what glorious things had been done. And those such as were worthy of the Most High, who enabled them to do those things, and worthy of the virtue of those laws which they followed. He took notice also that 31 of those kings that ventured to give them battle were overcome, and every army, how great soever it were, that confided in their own power and fought with them, was utterly destroyed, so that not so much as any of their prosperity remained. 74. And as for the cities, since some of them were taken, but the others must be taken in length of time by long sieges, both on account of the strength of their walls and of the confidence the inhabitants had in them thereby, he thought it reasonable that those tribes that came along with them from beyond Jordan and had partaken of the dangers they had undergone, being their own kindred, should now be dismissed and sent home, and should have thanks for the pains they had taken together with them. As also he thought it reasonable that they should send one man out of every tribe, and he as had the testimony of extraordinary virtue, who should measure the land faithfully, and without any fallacy or deceit, should inform them of its real magnitude.
So what it's saying is, they're saying, listen, man, this is going to be a hell of a venture. I'm getting old. Let's send these brothers back and set up their land. Okay? And while we're doing this, I'll have one man of each tribe be like a surveyor. They're hiring one man of each tribe to survey the land so that all the allotments are fair and that there's no bias in setting up the topography and the land rewards for each tribe. Okay, that's what this is about. So now, listen, Joshua's like, listen, let me get Israel settled, and the next man got to do the rest of the job by it. It was up to the next man to galvanize Israel again to finish off these people on the west. Okay, so let's go on to paragraph 21.
Paragraph 21, 76. Now Joshua, when he had thus spoken to them, found that the multitude approved of his proposal. But he sent men to measure their countries, and sent with them strong geometricians, who could not easily fail of knowing the truth on account of their skill in that art. He also gave them a charge to estimate the measure of that part of the land that was most fruitful and what was not so good.
So what you're going to see is that you have certain tribes that have big ass land areas and other tribes that have small land areas. And I always have stuff. Why does like Ephraim got this baby territory and Manasseh got like two large chunks of space? It didn't make any sense. But what it's saying is, as these topographers or these surveyors were doing, they were measuring out how much of the land was potent and how much of the land was trash that you couldn't really cultivate anything off of. And a lot of the determination of the space was based upon what was pure quality land you can use, and what was of this land was some was good, some was bad. Okay, so let's keep going.
77. For such is the nature of the land of Canaan, that one may see large plains, and such as are exceedingly fit for produce fruit, which yet, if they were compared to other parts of the country, might be reckoned exceedingly fruitful. Yet, if it be compared with the fields about Jericho, and to those that belong to Jerusalem, will appear to be of no account at all. And although it so falls out that these people have but a very little of this sort of land, and that it is for the main mountainous also, and yet does it not come behind other parts, on account of its exceeding goodness and beauty.
So what he's saying is some of the smaller parts that looks like Israel's getting gypped because they got small parts, it's really because these small parts of land that was given to certain tribes was really potent in the fruitfulness of the land and the quality of the land. So like for instance, Dan was up north, they had a real small piece. But really it was one of the most fruitful parts. You did with Zebulun, Issachar, Ephraim, Dan, and Benjamin. It looks like they had small parts, but it was really fruitful land in these areas. In comparison to other tribes that have bigger land, that have less fruitful areas, but more space. So that they were trying to be fair and just in how they estimated who gets what. Read on.
For which reason Joshua thought the land for the tribe should be divided by estimation of its goodness, rather than the largeness of its measure. It often happened that 1 acre of some sort of land was equivalent to 1,000 other acres.
So he says certain pieces of land, 1 acre was just as good as 1,000.
Wow.
So they didn't need that damn much land. And others had 1,000 acres. It was equivalent to 1 acre in this one land. Now that makes sense, and I can see this map, huh?
Like the goodness of it.
Exactly. So I can see why the hell Manasseh had all this damn land, bro. For what? Half of it wasn't as potent as the other tribes in their smaller pieces of land.
Just space.
Exactly. It was just space. Let's continue.
Now the men that were sent, which were in the number 10, traveled all about and made an estimation of the land. And in the 7th month came to him to the city of Shiloh, where they had set up the tabernacle.
Yep. Let's keep going. Paragraph 22.
22:80. So Joshua took both Eleazar and the Senate, and with them the heads of the tribes, and distributed the land to the 9 tribes, and to the half tribe of Manasseh, appointing the dimensions to be according to the largeness of each tribe. So when he had cast lots, Judah had assigned him by lot the upper part of Judea, reaching as far as Jerusalem, and its breadth extended to the lake of Solomon. Now in the lot of this tribe there were the cities of Askelon and Gaza. The lot of Simeon, which was the second, including that part of Idumea, which bordered upon Egypt and Arabia.
So this saying Simeon had a space that was almost like inside. It was Judah. Simeon was at the bottom or in the middle. And they had some of Edom's land towards the southeast. Okay? Continue.
As to the Benjamites, their lot fell so that its length reached from the river Jordan to the sea. But in breadth it was bordered by Jerusalem and Bethel. And this lot was the narrowest of all, by reason of the goodness of the land.
So Benjamin got the best land. Because you look at Benjamin's land, it's small as hell, but it's right in the best location. It bordered to the south was Jerusalem, so it was right above Jerusalem, right above Judah's land, and it was the best land. Okay.
For it included Jericho and the city of Jerusalem. 83. The tribe of Ephraim had by lot the land that extended in length from the river Jordan to Gezer, but in breadth as far as from Bethel till it ended at the great plain. The half tribe of Manasseh had the land from Jordan to the city Dora, but its breadth was at Bashan, which is now called
Scythopolis.
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 Scythopolis, And after these was Issachar, which had its limits in length, Mount Carmel, and the river, but its limits in breadth was Mount Tabor. The tribe of Zebulun's lot included the land which lay as far as the lake of
Gennesareth, yeah.
Gennesareth, and that which belonged to Carmel and the sea. 85. The tribe of Asher had that part which was called the valley, for such it was, and all that part which lay over against Sidon. The city Acre belonged to their share, which is also named Antipas.
Yeah.
The Nadalites received the eastern parts as far as the city of Damascus and the upper Galilee unto Mount Lebanon, and the fountains of Jordan, which rise out of that mountain, that is, out of that part of it whose limits belong to the neighboring city of Acre.
Yeah.
The Danites' lot included all that part of the valley which, with respects the sunsetting, and were bordered by Azotus and Dora, as also they had all Jania and Gath, from Ekron to the mountain where the tribe of Judah begins.
And there you go. Let me see. Where are we at in paragraph 14? I mean, chapter 14. Let's see.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just thinking a lot. I might need one more paragraph, Tasapa. I think paragraph 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, give me paragraph 24, sir.
24:90. But now was Joshua hindered by his age from exceeding what he intended to do, as did those that succeeded him in the government. Take little care of what was for the advantage of the public.
So what it's saying is he could only go so far, but the next generation didn't sit back here. They went as far as he did. And he says the next generation cared very little about what was important for the body. What was important for the body is that they finished this war and took out the rest of the borders, versus going to war with all these damn tribes forever. Continue.
So he gave it in charge of every tribe to leave no remnant of the race of the Canaanites in the land that had been divided to them by lot.
So I guess what he's saying is he put it in every tribe's hands to handle their responsibility and finish out these people. Read on.
That Moses had assured them beforehand, and they might rest fully satisfied about it, that their own security and their observation of their own laws depended wholly upon them.
So he's saying their ability to keep the laws was going to depend on how well or how they overcame these nations.
How they eliminated them.
Exactly. Or how they finished what they started. Because if they kept them neighboring, they were going to be beguiled and enticed to follow these gods. So he said, listen, man, it's up to each of these tribes. Huh?
That's the whole story of the rest of the Bible.
That's the whole story. Exactly. It's crazy.
So rather than have the whole nation fight for these lands, he gave it to the individual tribes. Okay, this is your land, you get them off your land.
But the problem is, you know what? This is just me throwing it in there. I can't prove it, but there was no leader afterwards to take the bull by the horns. There was nobody that came up after him to sit back and take charge, to unify the people. Because normally, before the head dies, there's a successor. What did Moses? Moses had Joshua to say, okay, listen, man, he's the guy. Everybody needs to see that Joshua's the guy. He's the man. Eleazar, you're the man after Aaron. There was nobody to step up. So now, if nobody was going to lead them, then the tribes have to do it. Because who was going to gain the respect of all the people to come together and fight? That's the problem also.
They had gotten what they wanted.
Yep.
That's why they just
They got what they wanted, and there was no strong leader. It was more about just taking it easy, chilling, and not pushing anymore. And that's the scary thing about not pushing. If you don't keep setting goals for yourself to keep challenging yourself, you will eventually fade out. And those things that you neglect in yourself will be your ruin. Next week when we go on to that, it's going to explain it, but the things you don't fight, the things you don't continue to break in yourself are going to be the things that stifle you from your ultimate goal.
Down the line.
They had to take these guys out for the prosperity of the people, for the posterity, for their mental sake, for their spiritual sake. But continue.
91. Moreover, he joined them to give 38 cities to the Levites, for they had already received 10 in the countries of the Amorites, and there of these he assigned to those that fled from the manslayers who were to inhabit there.
Those are those places of refuge. The cities of refuge were set up too.
My bad, it was 3. What was that? Fled from the manslayers who were to inhabit there, for he was very solicitous that nothing should be neglected which Moses had ordained. These cities were of the tribe of Judah, Hebron, of that of Ephraim, Shechem, and the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh.
So there were 3 sectors. It said Shiloh's in central, Hebron is south, far south. Hebron is far south. Then you get in Naphtali is far north. These are the 3 cities that were chosen. They were evenly dispersed as those cities for refuge. Okay, read on.
Which is a place of the upper Galilee. 92. He also distributed among them the rest of the prey not yet distributed, which was very great, whereby they had an affluence of great riches, both all in general, and any one in particular, and this of gold, and of investments, and of other fortunes, beside a multitude of cattle whose number could not be told.
What's crazy is everybody had great garments on. That nigga AK had to sit back and get that special gold garment on. Couldn't just wait on. But everybody got what they were deserving. Everybody got rich. Everybody became affluent.
Everybody won.
And you got furnished.
And you got furnished. But the challenge is, once you get that, can you continue to remain in the spirit of fighting?
Exactly.
Because that's the test the Most High has us all. When you blow up, when you get the things you need, can you maintain your hunger?
Can you make that second album? Because that first album's always good. It's
That's
always good.
awesome. It's the truth.
Sophomore album.
Yeah. Sophomore takes that.
Sophomore slap. Everything went good. You was off the streets. You was selling dope. Now you got in the studio. You put your whole life on the album line. And now here comes the second album. Like, well, I don't know what to talk about anymore.
Yeah.
I kind of
You lose that hunger, right?
I'll see you in the candy shop. I'm like, what are you talking about? How did we get here?
You banging on $50.
How did we get here?
Banging on $50.
The first album. The first one. It was Many Men. Many Men wish death upon me. Blood in my eyes, so I can't see. I'm like, this is beautiful. I love this album. Next album,
awesome.
I'm gonna take it to candy shop. I'm like, what happened? That's what happened in Israel. It's a Hebrewism. It's a little thing we have in our spirit.
What is that? It's the truth. Once things get comfortable, can you maintain that fight? It's the truth. Let's continue. Listen, let's go back in the scriptures. Joshua 14. Amiyati, let's get you real quick.
What, bro?
Was that?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Amiyatia, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Yashkar, Ban Yash'ala.
Amiyati, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Yashikar, Ban Yashal, Amashu, right? Yahweh Hashem Yashabakata.
Yahweh Hashem Shabakatam.
Okay. Alrighty, let's get Joshua 14 and
Joshua chapter 14, verse 1. And these are the countries which the children of Israel inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel distributed for inheritance to them. By lot was their inheritance, as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses, for 9 tribes and for the half tribe. For Moses had given the inheritance of 2 tribes and a half tribe on the other side of Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
But unto the Levites he gave none inheritance among them. For the children of Joseph were 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. Therefore they gave no part unto the Levites in the land, save cities to dwell in, with their suburbs for their cattle and for their substance. Verse 5. As the Lord commanded Moses, so the children of Israel did, and they divided the land.
As the what?
As the Lord commanded Moses,
Uh-huh.
so the children of Israel did.
That's the formula to success. Whatever the Most High commands, and if it gets passed down to the people, and the people are sitting here and they're subservient to the Most High's will, we have peace. There might not be peace in the flesh, but there's peace in the spirit.
Because without a vision, people perish.
Come. You can read this.
Verse 6. Then the children of Judah came to Joshua in Gilgal, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the
Kenizzite.
the Kenizzite, and said unto him, Thou knowest the thing that the Lord said unto Moses, the man of the Most High, concerning me and thee in Kadesh Barnea.
Mm-hmm.
40 years old was I when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to Espi, out of the land, and I brought him word again as it was in mine heart. Nevertheless, my brethren that went up with me and made the heart of the people melt, but I wholly followed the Lord my power.
What Caleb is saying is Caleb is in his hundreds too, man.
Wow.
He's old, man. Caleb is old. He was with Joshua back in the day. And he said, listen, I went and spied Kadesh Barnea. Kadesh Barnea is below Simeon's land. It's like at the bottom of Judah's space. So it says, years ago, we sat back here and spaced out this land or spied this land out. What he's saying, he's making this speech say he wants Kadesh Barnea. That's what he's saying tonight. Caleb's like, listen, I want this land for me and my posterity. And we went out here and we spied it from the beginning. And I think it's fitting that I get what I spied for 40 plus years ago, 45 years ago. Okay, read on.
Verse 9. And Moses swore on that day, saying, Surely the land whereon thy feet have trodden shall be thine inheritance, and thy children's forever, because thou hast wholly followed the Lord my power.
Justified.
Mm-hmm.
And now, behold, the Lord hath kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years,
There you go.
even since the Lord spake this word unto Moses.
And Israel saw, it shows you how much he's seen now. He was in those 40 years of like
Suffering. He was in 40 years of hell.
Of hell out.
Sadness, anger. He's like, I wholly followed the Most High. Everybody else but him and Joshua.
And I think everybody has that period in their life where that was dark for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can stay spiritual, stay righteous, and stay disciplined
Through the darkness.
through the darkness, there's a time when you can have forward progress, but it's, am I willing to fight after the years of toil?
Yep.
After the years of exhaustion?
Suffering.
Can I keep rebuilding the spirit of fighting? Now I'm past the circumstances that were holding us back, walking in circles in my life. Now that we're past the circles and we have an opportunity to move forward, can I keep recreating the spirit of fighting? A lot of us use the years we suffered or the years that we walked in circles in our life as reasons to no longer have the vigor or the
fight
to keep moving forward. We say, my best years are behind me. My best fights and wars are behind me. A lot of us say that.
Huh?
We don't.
While the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness, and now, lo, I am this day 85 years old. Verse 11. as yet I am as strong as this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me.
That's the Most High
Exactly.
preserving.
Yep.
That's the scripture says right there.
This wasn't it. But this wasn't what we're
This is
talking
one
about.
was.
This is one, but this isn't the one.
Oh, so the one you found it? You found it?
Hell no.
Never found it?
Never found it.
Damn. All right.
It's okay. It's okay.
We'll find
But
it
but
again.
this talks about how the Most High preserves a man because of his obedience, and this is a good one anyway.
Last time I might find it because he's going through those.
He was 85 years old. Is that what first born?
Well, let's read it again. I missed it. I'm talking to Dawiyat about something
Right.
we've been looking for forever, man. It's Dawiyat's fault I missed it. Read that part again.
Said all the way to 10, or you want?
Yeah, give me 10 again.
Top of verse 10. And now, behold, the Lord hath kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years, even since the Lord spake this word unto Moses, while the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness. And now, lo, I am this day 85 years old.
So it is 80. So he was 40. What he said, he was, because in verse 7, he was 40 when they started the spying.
So he felt like a 40-year-old coming back?
No, he was 40 when they started spying. And then he was 45 years after he spied. He's still here. So he's 85 killing giants.
Yeah.
Crazy.
85 killing giants. And the Most High is like, he spared his life. He kept him living for a long period of time. Okay. So let's go in.
Verse 11. As yet I am strong this day as I was in that day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now. For war, both to go out and to come in.
He said, I'm still as strong back then as I am now.
That's crazy.
When I go to battle, when I come back from battle.
I'm still potent. I'm not aching about my joints, my back, my knees, my shoulders. That's phenomenal.
Verse 12. Now therefore give me this mountain whereof the Lord spake in that day, for thou heardest in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and fenced. If so be the Lord will be with me, then I shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord said.
Mm-hmm.
And Joshua blessed them, and gave unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh, how do you say that?
It's Jephunneh.
Jephunneh, Hebron, for an inheritance.
So Joshua gave Caleb Hebron out. That's phenomenal. That was a big space. Hebron was good land. I'm trying to find out. Yeah, Hebron was right here. That was where one of the kings was at that they took out. Con. All right.
Verse 14. Hebron therefore became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Jephunneh the
Kenizzite.
Unto this day, because that he wholly followed the Lord power of Israel. And the name of Hebron before it was Kirjath Arba, which Arba was a great man among the Anakim.
He was a great giant amongst the giants. Read on.
And the land had rest from war.
Mm-hmm. Let's read chapter 15.
Joshua chapter 15. This then was the lot of the tribes of the children of Judah by their families, even to the border of Edom, the wilderness of.
We're always dealing with each other.
Yeah.
Edom.
So it's saying our border went all the way down to the tip of where Edom was. Okay. Continue.
Southward was the uttermost part of the south coast, and their south border was from the shore of the South Sea, from the bay that looketh southward, and it went out of the south side to Malek Akrabim,
Yeah.
and passed along to Zin, and ascended up on the south side unto Kadesh Barnea, and passed along to Hezron, and went up to Adar, and fetched a compass to Karka. From thence it passed toward from thence.
We're gonna split this chapter in half because this is a bear.
This is a challenge.
This is a bear. This is 63. If we don't do it now, we're gonna do it next week, guys. The first chapter of the class.
We good?
Let's do that, man. Huh? No, we're gonna do this one.
one.
You want to start that off next week?
I'm just joking. I'm just
Because
joking.
from literally 15 and like 17 or 18 is some of all the disbursements in the land. Right? The action's over. Right? Now we're just reading that. Continue.
Verse 4. From thence it passed toward Asmon, and went out unto the river of Egypt, and the goings out of that coast were at the sea. This shall be your south coast. Verse 5. And the east border was the salt sea, even unto the end of Jordan. And the border in the north quarter was from the bay of the sea at the uttermost part of Jordan. And the border went up to Beth Hogah, and passed along by the north of Beth Arabah, and the border went up to the stone of Bohan, the son of Reuben.
So once again, they were very detailed about their locations and landmarks. Judah had a lot of space. Maybe not have been the most fertile, but they had a lot of space. Okay, a lot of mountainous region. Read on.
Verse 7. And the border went up toward the Beer from the valley of Achor, and so northward, looking toward Gilgal, that is before the going up to Admumim, which is on the south side of the river, and the border passed toward the waters of En Shemesh, and the going out of thereof were at En Rogel.
What it's saying is that paragraph 7 is talking about the borders that Simeon was in the middle of it. Because Simeon was wrapped in the middle of Judah's space. You had Simeon here, and then Judah was all around him. Okay? Continue.
Verse 8. And the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom unto the south side of
The Jebusite.
the Jebusite, then and the same is Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lieth before the valley of Hinnom westward, which is at the end of the valley of the giants northward.
Because they said the border of Israel was Jerusalem. That was our borderland of the Judites. And it says Jerusalem, before they were called Jerusalem, was called Jebus. That's what's of the Jebusites. But continue.
Verse 9. And the border was drawn from the top of the hill unto the fountain of the fountain of the water of Naphtali.
I'm telling you, it's very important. If you have maps, that makes this reading a little better. This is tough if you don't have maps and you can't see what the hell's going on. Yeah, exactly. If you don't have, you're like just reading words, bro, and just names, and they don't make no. It's just nothing. It's just words, and valleys and hills and rivers. But let's keep going.
And went out to the cities of the Mount Ephron, and the border was drawn to Baalah, which is Kirjath Jearim. Verse 10. And the border compassed from Baalah westward unto Mount Seir, and passed along unto the side of Mount Jearim, which is
Chesalon,
on the north side, and went down to Beth Shemesh, and passed on to Timnah. And the border went out unto the side of Ekron northward, and the border was drawn to Shikron, and passed along to Mount Baalah, and went out unto Jabneel. And the going out of the border were at the sea, and the westward border was the great sea, and the coast thereof. This is the coast of the children of Judah round about according to their families.
So they just went through all the borders of the lands of Judah, so there was no confusion. And this is, they sat back here and like Joshua commissioned all those individuals to break down all the specifics of the landmass and the areas. They're just writing down and talking about what was recorded by those topographers or those what do you call those guys?
Geometricians?
Yeah, geometricians, or present day it would be
Land surveyors.
yeah, surveyors. Yeah. Just keep going.
Verse 13. And unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh, he gave a part among the children of Judah according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, even the city of Arba, the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. And Caleb drove thence the 3 sons of Anak, Shishai, and Ahiman, and Talmai, the children of Anak. And he went up thence to the inhabitants of the Beer, and the name of the Beer was Kirjath Sepher. And Caleb said, He that smiteth Kirjath Sepher, and taketh it, to him will I give Aksa, my daughter, to wife. And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, the brother of Caleb, took it, and he gave him Aksa, his daughter, to wife. And it came to pass, as she came unto him, that she moved him to ask of her father a field, and she lighted off her ass. And Caleb said unto her, What wouldest thou?
What do you want?
Verse 19. Who answered, Give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a southland. Give me also springs of water. And he gave her the upper springs of the nether springs, and the nether springs.
They had extra. They had a whole lot of extra. Read on.
Verse 20. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Judah according to their families.
So they specified Caleb because he earned it. Read on.
Verse 21.
Well, no, let me take that back. They talked about the entire tribe. Then they specified Caleb. Now they're going to go specifically with the families after that. Read on.
Verse 21. And the uttermost cities of the tribe of the children of Judah toward the coast of Edom southward were Kabzeel and Eder and Jagur and Kenah and Demona and Adadah. Verse 23. And Kadesh and Hazor and Etnan, Ziph and Telem and Beloth and Hazor and Hadattah and Kirioth and Zeron, which is Hazor, Amam and Shema and Moladah and Hazar Gadah and Heshmon and Beth Palet and Hazor Shual and Beer Sheba and Bis Jah, verse 29. Ba'la'ah and Im and Azim and El Tolad and Chesil and Hormah, 31. And Ziklag and Madmanah.
These are cities?
Yeah.
I always hear about Ziklag all the time in the Bible. I don't know.
These are cities of the tribe of the children of Judah.
And Sanah and Labath and Shilhim and Ain and Ramon. Yeah,
if they would have had the little thing on top, it would have said Ramon.
I gotta start saying it in Spanish.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just do it, bro.
Ramon.
Be you, man.
All cities are 20 and 9 with villages. And in the valley of Eshtal and Zoriah and Ashna and Zonah and En Ganim, Tapal and Enam, Jarmuth and Adulam, Soka and Azekah, verse 36, and Sharim and Adi Thaim and Get Erah and Get Athim, 14 cities with their villages.
So the 14 cities were going towards the valley in the west. The one with Edom was going towards the east. 29 was going towards the east. Okay? Continue.
37. Zenan and Hadash Shah and Migdal Gad.
Migdal Gad.
Verse 38. and Dilian, and Mizpeh, and Joktheel, Lachish, and Bozkath, and Elgon, and Taban, and Lamam, and Kithlish, and Gederoth, Beth Dagon, and Naamath, and Makkedah, 16 cities with their villages, Libnah, and Ether, and Ashan, and Jiphthah, and Ashna, and Nebzib, verse 44, and Keilah, and Akzib, and Marashah, 9 cities with their villages.
Ekron's famous.
Verse 45, Ekron with her towns and her villages, from Ekron even unto the sea, all that lay near Ashdod with their villages.
Ashdod is straight Philistines. Some of these areas are inhabited with people still. Read on.
Ashdod with her towns and her villages, Gaza with her towns and her villages.
Gaza too. Read on.
Unto the river of Egypt and the great sea and the border thereof.
This is why a lot of times, back in the day, the land of Canaan was classified still as Egypt. For years from the beginning.
I'm sorry.
The land of Canaan was classified as Egypt. They were bordering countries, man. They weren't very far away. This is why when it talks about Israel was going to be in the land of Egypt for 400 some odd years, that started when Abraham went to Haran, which was northern Canaan. That's when we're talking about how Israel was in Egypt for 430 years. It started from Abraham going to Haran, leaving Ur. And from the time when they got to Haran all the way down to Moses getting out of Egypt was 430 years. That was the time. Because that land was still classified as Egypt. It was just, Egypt was the head, but they had soft jurisdiction over Canaan. They let them do what they're doing and just bring them money and supplies. That was how they had jurisdiction, but it was still referred to as Egypt. Josephus says it, and the scriptures say it about the 430 years. But let's keep going.
Verse 48, and in the mountains of Shamir, and Jatir, and Sokoh, and Danah, and Kirjath Sanaa, which is Debir, and Anab, and Eshtemoh, and Anim, and Goshen, and Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities with their villages, Arab, and Dumah, and Eshan, and Janum, and Beth Tapua, and Af Ekah, and Humta, and Kirjath Arba,
which is Hebron,
and Zior, 9 cities with their villages, Moab, Carmel, and Ziph, and Jetua, and Jezreel, and Jokadim, and
Zanoah.
How you say that? Zanoah. Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their villages, Havul, Beth Zur, and Gedor, and Ma'ra'ath, and Beth Anath, and Eltekon, 6 cities with their villages, Kirjath Baal, which is Kirjath Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 cities with their villages, in the wilderness, Beth Arabah, Medin, and Sekaka, and
Nibsham,
the city of salt, and En Gedi, 6 cities with their villages. Verse 63. As for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Jerusalem was once called Jebu because of the Jebusite people. Read on.
The children of Judah could not drive them out, but the Jebusites dwelt with the children of Judah at Jerusalem
Wow.
to this
It's
day.
crazy, bro. Good question. Couldn't or didn't. It doesn't go into why.
I don't hear no fighting going on.
They getting paid. They getting paid. That's what this is, huh?
Yeah.
They're chilling, they're getting that bread. But this is the problem. You got all these nations, that they might have subdued themselves. They're helping. They're not fighting. But they're influenced. They're still serving their gods.
Exactly.
They're still living their life. They're still eating their swine.
So at this point, the commandment of Moses is still there, right?
Yeah.
So
Like we read in the Josephus. He said, listen, every tribe handle your business. Judah could have took down these dudes, huh?
Pay tribute. So.
The tribes could have did it.
Judah got it.
You know what? I can see this. I can see how Joshua was like, I'm about to die, I'm getting older. I got to make sure everybody gets their land
Before he goes out.
because I have to at least finalize what Moses wanted me to do is to get them set on their lands. These minor skirmishes might take some time, but you guys can handle this. I got to get you guys settled in your locations. Let me do that. Let me make sure that Moses' requirements are done before I'm done.
Right.
Because what good is fighting 10 more years and I die and the lands aren't properly established as to who gets what?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I can understand Joshua thinking that way. Yeah, there was more fighting to do, but he was already 110 years old. How much longer was he going to be? You had most men were going to last around 110, 120 years anyway. The ones that had a long life. I think Moses died at 120. He didn't have much time left. So he said, let me sit back here and get Israel set up in their locations. So I did what I could. Now the rest of you guys, you got to take these guys out, finish the job. I did what I could. I think that's why the fighting stopped and let me sit back and establish boundaries for the people first.
Structure.
But as soon as the boundaries were set and you guys got in your lands, get off your ass, go to war, and reclaim your spots. Read on. Okay, no.
That's it, sir.
You done, y'all, man?
I got to my notes.
That's hilarious. The class is done, man? No more Bible class, man? He says, we're done. I'm like, he's like, no more. No more reading these hard words. Well, a sister, no, I'm going to say, listen, Gamaria, we're not going there yet, bro. We're going to wait till next week to get that. We have the whole Bible to read. I promise you, we'll do into that chapter, that book 5, chapter 2, paragraph 7. We'll go into all that. You have my word. That's happening. Stay tuned. But we got to sit back here and get through all of this Joshua first, probably next week. After we read all of these basic angles about the land allotments, then we'll start going into how Israel got effeminate and got comfortable. We'll go into that afterwards. We'll get it. But sis, you had a question about online about new moons. And what the significance of it is. We're not going to go into a whole heavy breakdown of it. But in a nutshell, the new moons were a time to gather amongst the people. And the people a lot of times would sit back here and offer offerings to the priest. But it was gathering and offerings. That was what the new moons were. It wasn't a high holy day, and it wasn't a day where it was treated like a Sabbath. It was a gathering day. Okay? No problem, Mark. It's all good. But it was a gathering day. No more, nothing less. We come together as a nation. We spend time with each other. We gather. That's what the new moon was. I don't want to make it any more complex than that because it wasn't. We will blow the horn. We will blow the shofar. And we would gather, come together. And the people would bring offerings to the priest. Okay? I don't know if you're still online, sis, but if you are, that was the answer to your question. I want to make sure the class was finished. Then we answer the question. And what we're going to do, we'll definitely go into book 5, chapter 2 next week. But as for now, we're going to shut it down, y'all. Unless there's any questions online or in class, are there any more Bible questions? Any more questions about the topic or any other questions? Okay. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer and see if anything pops up. I don't think it is. All right. Imagine, Wapanya, Yerushalayim. Rise and face the east. Face the east. No problem, sis. Oh, sis, Blanca, I think that question you asked a couple Fridays ago, the book was Satan's Angels Exposed.
Yeah.
It was Satan's Angels Exposed. I think that was the question that you had. Anyway, we're going to get these prayers up. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Please listen to us right now.
Please listen to us right now.
Send Micah Allah.
Send Micah Allah.
And the righteous angels.
And the righteous angels.
To watch over.
Watch over.
Bless.
Bless.
Heal.
Heal.
Protect.
Protect.
And make strong.
Make strong.
The people of Yasharah.
People of Yasharah.
Also send unto us.
Also send unto us.
Much wisdom.
Much wisdom.
Much knowledge.
Much knowledge.
Much understanding.
Much understanding.
Much patience.
Much patience.
Much faith.
Much faith.
Much brotherhood.
Much brotherhood.
And much love.
Much love.
Spiritual power.
Spiritual power.
And forgive all of our sins.
And forgive all of our sins.
Yahweh Shai come quickly.
Yahweh Shai come quickly.
For in thee
For in thee
is our hope.
is our hope.
Always.
Always.
And forever.
Forever.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Baruch Atah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Hahawa Nathal Hathawara.
Hathawara.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the law.
All right. Baruch Atah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Hahawa Nathal Award Lara.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light to see.
Got it. Baruch Atah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Hahawa Nathal Hayo Kwara La Kwara Ha'ayin.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the ram's horn to call the people.
Baruch Atah Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Atah Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Hahawa Nathal Sheman Zayat Lamashak Yatral.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
It is a good thing to give thanks to the Lord.
And to sing praise unto thy name.
And sing praise to
thy name.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
to show forth thy loving kindness
show forth thy loving kindness
in the morning,
in the morning,
and thy faithfulness
and thy faithfulness
every night.
every night.
Upon the instrument of 10 strings,
And
and upon the psaltery,
upon the sword,
upon the harp,
upon the harp,
with the solemn sound.
The solemn sound.
For thou, Yahweh,
Thou, Yahweh,
hast made me glad through thy work.
has made me glad for thy work.
I will triumph in the works of thy hands.
I will triumph in the works of thy hands.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
how great are thy works,
how great is thy work,
and thy thoughts are very deep.
Thy
and thou art very deep.
A brutish man knoweth
A
not,
brutish man knoweth not,
neither doth a fool understand this.
neither the fool understandeth.
When the wicked springeth the grass,
The wicked spring is the grass,
and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish,
and when all the works of iniquity do flourish,
it is that they shall be destroyed forever.
it is that they shall be destroyed forever.
But thou, Yahweh,
But thou, Yahweh,
art most high forevermore.
art most high forevermore.
For lo, thy enemies,
For lo, thy
O
enemies,
Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
for lo, thy enemies shall perish.
for lo, thy enemies shall perish.
All the workers of iniquity
All the workers of iniquity
shall be scattered.
shall be scattered.
But my horn shalt thou exalt,
But my horn shalt thou exalt,
like the horn of a unicorn.
like the horn of a unicorn.
I shall be anointed with fresh oil.
I shall be anointed with fresh oil.
My eye also shall see
My eyes shall see
my desire
My
on my enemies,
on my enemies,
And my ear shall hear.
And my ear shall hear.
My desire of the wicked.
My desire of the wicked.
That rise up against me.
That rise up against me.
The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree.
The righteous shall flourish like a palm tree.
He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon.
He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon.
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord
Those that be planted in the house of the Lord
shall flourish in the courts of our power.
shall flourish in the course of our power.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall still bring forth fruit in old age.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
They shall be fat and flourishing.
To show that the Lord is upright,
To show that the Lord is upright.
He is my rock,
He is my
and
rock.
there is no unrighteousness in Him.
And there is no righteousness in him.
By Hashem Yahushai.
By Hashem Yahushai.
Psalms 133. Shayar,
Shayar.
Hama Iowa,
Iowa.
La Duwad,
Duwad.
Hana,
Hana.
Ma,
Ma.
Tawab,
Tawab.
Lama,
Lama.
Na'ayam,
Na'ayam.
Shabbat,
Shabbat.
Akim,
Akim.
Gam,
Gam.
Yachad,
Yachad.
Hashaman,
Hashaman.
Hatawab,
Hatawab.
Ayo,
Ayo.
Hara'ash,
Hara'ash.
Yarad,
Yarad.
Ayo,
Ayo.
Hazakwan,
Zakwan.
Zakwan,
Zakwan.
Aharan,
Aharan.
Shayarad,
Shayarad.
Ayo,
Ayo.
Paya,
Paya.
Madawath Yawah,
Yawah.
Kator,
Kator.
Karamwan,
Karamwan.
Shayarad,
Shayarad.
Aroria,
Aroria.
Ayo,
Ayo.
Aroria,
Aroria.
Tazayawan,
Tazayawan.
Kaya,
Kaya.
Sham,
Sham.
Tazawah,
Tazawah.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Habaraka,
Habaraka.
Kayayim,
Kayayim.
Ai,
Ai.
Paul Mulam,
Paul Mulam.
by Hashem Yahushai.
Hashem Yahushai. Psalms 133. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Ba'Hashem,
Ba'Hashem.
Yahushai,
Yahushai.
Rakhanau,
Rakhanau.
Rashralim,
Rashralim.
Wabiyath,
Wabiyath.
Supporting,
Supporting.
Turn. Yahweh, Ba'Hashem,
Ba'Hashem.
Yahushai,
Yahushai.
Rakhanau,
Rakhanau.
Rashralim,
Rashralim.
Wabiyath,
Wabiyath.
Supporting,
Supporting.
Turn. Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Ba'Hashem,
Ba'Hashem.
Yahushai,
Yahushai.
Rakhanau,
Rakhanau.
Rashralim,
Rashralim.
Wabiyath,
Wabiyath.
Supporting,
Supporting.
Turn. Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Ba'Hashem,
Ba'Hashem.
Yahushai,
Yahushai.
Rakhanau,
Rakhanau.
Rashralim,
Rashralim.
Wabiyath,
Wabiyath.
Supporting.
Supporting.
Barak Yahweh,
Barak Yahweh.
Barak Yahushai,
Barak Yahushai.
all knowledge,
All knowledge,
all wisdom,
all wisdom,
all understanding,
understanding,
all love,
all love,
all patience,
all patience,
all power
all power
from Yahweh.
from Yahweh.
All power
All power
from Yahweh.
from Yahweh.
All power
All power
from Yahweh.
from Yahweh.
By Hashem,
Ba'Hashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
the water,
water,
from Yah,
Yah,
Aman.
Aman.
Circle up.
Saluting out in the heavenly order. Why, Yahweh.
No Yahweh, why Yahushai?
Yahweh. One Yahweh.
Why call Yashal?
Yeah, you got it.
I just said.
No. You said why Yahweh. Why?
Yahweh, why
Oh, okay.
Yahushai? Why call Yashal?
Go ahead.
You got it.
Saluting out in the heavenly order. Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shai, Wa Koya Sha'ala, Men of Israel. Muslim. Rock. Yahweh
Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Barakatam.
Kum Yashal.
Kum Yashal.
Kum Yashal.
Kum Yashal.
Kum Yashal.
Kum Yashal.
Matai.
Turn to face sisters.
Saluting out the daughters of Zion, Men of Israel. Muslim. Rock.
Yahweh Shemai Alatham, Ba'Hashem Yahushai. Yahweh Matah, dismissed. Allah, Israel, the water for tuning in. I'll see you guys on Monday. The water.
Somebody.
Yeah.